Break for me! Break for me! His voice was like a thunderclap. The golden-furred giant ape burst out with both fists, and its body abruptly stood up. It raised its fists into the air and roared, earth splitting. Both of his fists landed heavily on the ground. Rumble, rumble, rumble. A loud explosion resounded. The air exploded. The ground split open, and the ground was filled with the sounds of explosions, creating a sound that pierced through the clouds. This scene, it was like the end of the world. The fairy beast was enraged, its power unstoppable. Even the Mu clan felt such a strong vibration. Many elders of the northern region walked out and looked deep into the god-living mountain. What happened? Why is there such a strong shock? Is it some kind of divine beast? Explosions continuously spread out and the ground cracked. Mu Changfeng and the other three immediately flew up into the air from the ground, and a shocking array also shattered at this moment. In midair, the five of them fainted. No matter how powerful the five of them were, they couldn't withstand such a powerful impact of energy. In an instant, they were sent flying into the air and lost consciousness. Rumble. The golden-furred giant ape didn't stop there. It swept its arms and directly sent the five flying. Bang, bang, bang. One by one, they were shot out like bullets and fell into the deep mountains. It was unknown whether he was dead or alive. Shocking array? The existence of Tofu, an expert beyond the divine moon realm. He's just a piece of trash. In the eyes of the giant golden-furred ape, these brats were too lazy to attack them. If it wasn't for Long Fei, he wouldn't even be angry. Mu Changfeng's group of five was sent flying. Without any hesitation, the giant golden ape leaped into the air and landed right at the entrance of the cave. In the blink of an eye, it swiftly rushed into the cave. And then there was Long Fei. He didn't stay long after he entered the cave. He knew that only Mu Changfeng and the other three wouldn't be able to hold on for long. So if this cave was the hood door of the giant golden-furred ape, then he had to make haste. After entering the cave, Long Fei realized that the interior of the cave seemed to be like another world. He could not sense anything in the outside world. Even the loud sound of the giant ape's earth crack could not be heard in the cave. Strange. Could it be that this is a secret world? Long Fei was suspicious. Long Guangdao. No, there's a powerful force supporting us here. It's not the secret world, but a type of boundary power. The power of the boundary. It can't be? I have never heard of a fairy beast being able to set up a boundary. Long Fei did not believe that the fairy beast could set up the boundary. Long Quang did not explain immediately, because this was the same for him as well. It was impossible for fairy beast to set up a boundary. Although the fairy beast was a spirit beast that had evolved and cultivated for 1,000,000 years, it was still not an all-powerful existence. The giant golden-furred ape had already trained to the level of the undefeatable diamond physique. Long Fei continued to walk forward. Dragon Quang also noticed the changes in the surrounding boundary. The cave was very smooth and was filled with scarlet rocks, as if it had not cooled down even after being burned by fire. Suddenly, Long Quang suddenly shouted, "Something's wrong. That's not right. That's not right. That's not right. That's impossible. This doesn't make any sense at all. How could this be?" Long Quang's face was full of doubt, and he was extremely shocked. Long Fei said, "What the F*** K did you discover? That's not right, that's not right. What are you trying to say?" Long Guangdao, "Master, do you feel a familiar feeling from the boundary here?" "Familiar? I don't feel it." Long Fei looked around. He truly did not feel the slightest hint of familiarity. "What exactly did you discover?" Long Guangdao, "Master, there's a dragon's aura here." Long Fei was startled, and his brows tightened. He was truly familiar with dragons. However, all of the dragon-related energy in his body had disappeared, and even his blood vein had disappeared. The feeling of Long Wushan stripping him back then was still fresh in his mind, but it was a pity that Long Wushan was saved by his purple dragon. Otherwise, he would not be able to vent his hatred even if he was killed 10,000 times. When Long Quang talked about the dragon Qi, Long Fei started to laugh and cry. Long Quang also felt that Long Fei's sore spot was mentioned, and said, "Master, I didn't do it on purpose." Long Fei smiled slightly and said, "It's fine, I don't think I have anything to do with dragons other than going by the surname of Long. That's not the point. What did you find?" "Master, the dragon race has a type of boundary called dragon squamous boundary. Only you know how to solve this kind of problem in your previous life. I was lucky to see it once. It's just that at that time, Long Batian had used a piece of dragon scale. Everything within dragon's squamous boundary was scarlet red, and within boundary, it was like another world. The most important thing is that the holy source in boundary is incredibly rich. Cultivating here for a day is equivalent to cultivating for a decade. If I absorb dragon scale true essence, I might even be able to cultivate an even stronger physique. Only now do I understand why the giant golden-furred ape has the undefeatable Vajra body. It's because of this space." Long Quang's gaze was locked on, and said with certainty, "This special space should be is the dragon's squamous boundary. The god-living mountain does exist in the ancient times, but why would there be such a dragon squamous boundary here? Other than Dragon Lord, no one else would bother with this kind of boundary." Even if Long Quang racked his brains, he still couldn't think of a reason. After Long Fei heard this much, the corner of his mouth slightly hooked up. His eyes became gloomy as he said in a heavy voice, "Long Batian, could it be that I still haven't gotten rid of you? You're lingering like a ghost." After the ancient dragon body was separated, Long Fei thought that he and Long Batian would end things here, but now it seemed that it was far from being possible. There is only one possibility for something related to Long Batian to suddenly appear in a place like this. It was all planned by Long Batian, tens of billions of years ago. In the beginning, he did not hate Long Batian, and he even had a little admiration. This was because the #1 powerhouse in ancient world, the first time he had ever been the overlord of the god of boundary. Since he was said to be the reincarnation of Long Batian, he didn't feel that it was annoying at all. However, the things that happened next were all related to Long Batian one after the other. He arranged all the people and things that happened, making Long Fei feel like his fate was being controlled by someone else. This was something he was very unhappy about. From displeasure to boredom, it was lingering. It made Long Fei have no choice but to choose, and it truly made him angry. In that instant, Long Fei took a step forward and said solemnly, "Long Batian, I want to see exactly what you have arranged for me. Let me see what you want." The dragon's squamous boundary, a being that only Long Batian could release. The dragon's squamous boundary, a being that only Long Batian could release. This boundary had a specific attribute. Defense was one type, and free entry was another. He had used most of his dragon's scales essence to create the strongest defense in the place where Long Batian was buried, leaving behind only his Mingmen. This was no coincidence. In the depths of God-living mountain, this dragon's squamous boundary only used a small scale on the dragon's tail. However, it was also not a coincidence. Everything was for the sake of waiting. Long Fei entered, and the person he was waiting for arrived. Bang, bang, bang. The giant golden ape entered the cave and ran frantically. His heart was also filled with shock. Impossible, impossible. Any human that comes close to the brain will be disturbed. The light ones will faint, and the heavy ones will suffer serious internal injuries. No one can go in. The golden-furred ape was very clear about the rules of this space. Just like how Mu Changfeng had started, the two men were also heavily injured when they entered the cave. In the past, when stronger powerhouse entered, their consciousness and consciousness was also severely injured, and they couldn't enter at all. But now, however, there were people who went in without any adverse reactions. The golden-furred giant ape was extremely anxious. He had lived in the boundary for 1,000 years, and this 1,000 years was equivalent to 10,000 years of cultivation. Furthermore, the success of his cultivation in this 1,000 years was even greater than the great demon kings who had cultivated for 1,000,000 years. This was all thanks to the boundary. This was his boundary, something that no human would be able to take away. Besides these, At this moment, the giant golden-furred ape was still undergoing its tribulation. Its primordial spirit was within the boundary. So, if its primordial spirit was destroyed, then the golden-furred giant ape was extremely anxious. However, in boundary, it was not the same as him becoming stronger and faster. No matter how anxious he was, Long Fei was the first to reach the place. A few minutes later, Long Fei stopped and looked into the distance. In an open space, the surroundings were blood-red, without a single blade of grass. On the other side, a fiery primordial spirit was undergoing its tribulation. The surroundings were constantly being invaded by the foreign chi, but under the red scales, the foreign chi became very fearful. Even if it wanted to invade the primordial spirit, it wouldn't dare to get too close. Long Fei was looking at the blood-colored scales. At the same time, it was also looking at Long Fei. In Long Fei's eyes, it was just like a person with no shadow or form. They looked at each other. Suddenly, Long Fei blinked his eyes. When he opened them again, the scales had suddenly moved and immediately turned into a human. He had never seen this person before, but he felt that this person was powerful enough to suffocate the world. Powerhouse. The real powerhouse. Even if it's the Emperor Xian's. Long Fei also did not feel that it was that strong. Back then, when he was in the small plane, the Emperor Xian was an existence which was like the sky. This was just an illusion. But too strong, too strong. He was truly a godlike existence. The illusion stepped forward, and Long Fei unconsciously took a step back. He did not dare to approach. The figure stopped, laughed lightly, and said, "Long Fei." Long Fei asked, "Who are you?" The mysterious man laughed. "I am just like you." Long Fei frowned and said, "What kind of person are you? Exactly who are you?" Long Batian? The mysterious man laughed and said, "The name is just a code name. What's important is that you and I are from the same place." He did not know what the virtual image was trying to express. However, Long Fei felt that this virtual shadow could see through everything he had. This was a kind of feeling, and this kind of feeling also made Long Fei very unhappy. The mysterious man withdrew his smile and said, "You will know who I am later. I won't say much about this. Do you want to become stronger?" Long Fei said, "If you want to say something, then be more direct. Don't talk to me about these fake things." "Ha ha ha. Earth people are so straightforward," the mysterious man suddenly said. "Then I'll just say it directly. I can make you the #1 powerhouse. I can make you the overlord of this ancient world. I can make you have any power in this world. Life, death, strength, weakness. I can allow you to dominate." Long Fei was startled at first, and was startled by the first few words of the mysterious man, but the last few words, he was about to forget about the words of the mysterious man. Long Fei said, "You speak as if you are a god." The shadow said, "I am a god. At the very least, in this world, I am the god in your hearts. I can control life and death." While they were talking, the mysterious man slightly moved his 5 fingers as he looked at the immortal soul that was undergoing some sort of tribulation. Shua! His primal shattered, not even for a second. At this time, not far behind Long Fei, the giant golden-furred ape collapsed onto the ground, lifeless, dead. An undefeatable fairy beast died, just like that. Long Fei frowned. How strong the heck was this? He truly controlled life and death. The shadow moved slightly. "What do you think of this fairy beast? An undefeatable King Kong body. Should be considered a top-grade fairy beast, right? In my eyes, he isn't even an ant. Do you want him to die? Or do you want him to live?" Long Fei asked. "What are you trying to do exactly?" The mysterious man repeated, "Do you want him dead or alive?" Long Fei said, "Didn't he already die?" The shadow said, "In my eyes, there is nothing that is absolutely death or absolute life. Do you want him to die or live?" Long Fei was afraid that the immortal crystals would be damaged, and replied, "Yes." The mysterious man's finger moved. In the blink of an eye, his Yuan spirit gathered once again, and the giant golden-furred ape instantly climbed up from the ground and let out a heavy breath. He was completely alive. The heck? Long Fei looked at it until his scalp went numb. Was it an illusion? It didn't look like it. With that, the mysterious man waved his hand, and a large amount of immortal crystals appeared. He said, "This world belongs to me, so I have everything I want. You want immortal crystals? You want to save your woman? You want to kill Emperor Xian? I can help you with all this." Long Fei said, "What do you want from me?" This was the key. The virtual image replied, "I haven't thought about what I want, but we can sign an agreement first." Long Fei said, "Why do you think I will agree?" He was not stupid. He knew very well what the mysterious man wanted, but he would not say it now. Moreover, this sort of thing was either not precious or was fatal. The mysterious man said, "You have no reason to refuse. Undead Lord will immediately rush over to help. Mu Clan cannot withstand it at all. Moreover, with your current cultivation progress, you can't kill Emperor Xian in 10,000 years. Only I can help you." Long Fei said, My apologies, I do not wish to help you." While they were talking, Long Fei was about to turn around. At the same time, the mysterious man was enraged and said in a deep voice, "Do you think you have a choice? Long Fei, you have no choice. Everything you do is for me to choose." Ha ha ha. As soon as he finished, Long Fei's body was suddenly at a loss of what to do. In an instant, his eyes rolled back as he fainted. It was just that he was not the most powerful being in the ancient world yet, and was unable to activate the contract. As for what exactly was the contents of the contract, Long Fei wanted to know, but he didn't know anything. The feeling of being controlled made his entire body feel uncomfortable. He thought in his heart, "Long Bat Ian, you want to play, right? Fine, then I'll play with you. Let's see who can beat who in the end. F***CK. He cursed loudly. Half an hour later, Long Fei regained consciousness, and the moment he opened his eyes, his body subconsciously trembled as he looked at the gigantic golden ape that was like a small mountain. The golden-furred ape was looking at him. It was only 2 meters away from him, and by this time, its primordial spirit had already returned to his body. From the looks of it, he had succeeded in transcending the tribulation. There were many types of tribulations. The tribulation of Fairy Beast would always be extremely difficult, but after they had successfully transcended it, they would gain a tremendous improvement every single time. In front of the giant golden-furred ape, Long Fei was like an ant. The giant ape already had an undefeatable body. He could crush Long Fei with his fingers right now. Thus, in that instant, Long Fei secretly shook his head. He stared at the giant golden ape's pupil. Golden threads could be seen in its pupil. Clearly, this was completely different from before. Similarly, the giant golden ape was also staring at him. They looked at each other. Long Fei slowly stood up and retreated. "About that, I just want to come in and take a look. There's no other reason. I won't disturb you from your tribulation. That's it. I'll be leaving first." As soon as he finished, Long Fei immediately ran. With a move of the idea, he released the power of inscription, directly using it on his speed. His 2 feet moved like wind and fire wheels as they flew up into the air. When he ran out of the cave, he found that the boundary had already disappeared. That dragon scale should be in his body. At the moment, Long Fei was not in the mood to think too much into it. Right now, he was using all of his strength to increase his speed. As long as the giant golden ape caught up to him, he would be dead for sure. Before he ran far, the giant golden ape caught up. Bang, bang, bang. He had not even taken a single step when the ground shook rapidly, as if there was an earthquake. Behind him, the cave collapsed continuously. "It's over, it's all over. This guy doesn't even want a cave anymore. He's trying to kill me with this tempo." Long Fei complained in his heart. What kind of fairy beast was behind him? It was simply a prehistoric monster that had come out of the ground. "Long Batian, didn't you say that you have the power to rule the world? Come on, give it to me, release it for me? Weren't you in control of life and death just now? Come on, kill this guy behind me." "Your sister? What the heck are you talking about?" Long Fei complained in his heart, but unfortunately, some power that controlled life and death, some power that was dominated by the ancient world, had not come out at all. Long Fei fled in an incomparably miserable manner. He really wanted to curse the 18 generations of Longbation's ancestors. If it were not for Dragon's squamous boundary, he would have destroyed the primordial spirit of the giant golden-furred ape and easily killed the fairy beast. At this time, he already had the immortal crystal, but now, he almost pissed his pants. I shouldn't have saved him from the start. Aren't I making myself uncomfortable? Long Fei was very vexed. He should have let the giant golden ape die back then, when the illusion let him choose. What a pity. There was no medicine for regret. Long Fei's intestines turned green with regret. Bam! Whoosh! Long Fei ran out of the cave and looked behind him. The giant golden ape also rushed out of the cave, as if it was pulling out dried twigs and dried twigs. Moreover, the entire cave had caved in. Now, his home was completely gone. Long Fei said with a bitter face, "Big brother, I'm really sorry. I really didn't do it on purpose. Can we discuss it and not chase it?" he shouted. He was also running with all his might. However, the golden-furred giant ape did not answer him, but ran behind him. It did not catch up to Long Fei and followed behind him like a dog chasing a rabbit. The bitter Long Fei could only keep running forward. 10 minutes later, Long Fei's speed was too fast, and at this time, he didn't think too much about it. He only wanted to escape from the giant ape and take a step into the air before realizing that he was currently in a bottomless abyss. Fuck, I'm really done for this time. I'm going to fall to my death. Long Fei's body sank. Unable to control himself, he fell straight into the abyss. However, in less than 3 seconds, he landed on the ground. With just a glance, what he descended into wasn't the depths of the chasm, but the palm of the giant ape. Wasn't this equivalent to falling into a pot of boiling water? Wasn't this equivalent to falling into a pot of boiling water? Long Fei's heart was as dead as death, as he muttered, "Even if I die, I can't die like this." As a gamer, even if he died in the hands of a monster, he must at least have some dignity. This was not Long Fei's style. The idea moved. Long Fei held onto the Dong Huang sword's handle with both of his hands and bellowed, "God's chop. Ding! Target locked. Even if I can't kill you, I will do my best to slash you. This is dignity." Long Fei stared at the golden-furred giant ape. However, just as Long Fei was about to pull out his sword and slash down, the golden-furred giant ape spoke out, "Master, don't pull out your sword. I'm your war pet." There was a piteous plea in her voice. This was completely different from the berserk golden-fur ape from before. How could this voice contain even the slightest hint of anger? Long Fei was also shocked senseless. What the F***? What's the situation? What did you call me? The giant golden ape said, "Master." This time, Long Fei did not mishear him. His heart was ecstatic as he asked, "What's your name?" The giant golden ape didn't feel impatient at all and said, "Master." "Master?" Long Fei was startled. Could it be that this guy has water in his brain? Call me Master? A fairy beast became my war pet? Holy sh**t. Am I dreaming? Long Fei was in disbelief. Fairy beast was different from other demon beast. It was impossible for him to become a human war pet. He did not cultivate for 1,000,000 years to become a human beast. Fairy beast had a self-esteem that was even stronger than divine beasts. Even the most elite master of beast mastery would not be able to subdue them. They were fairy beasts, uncontrollable. But now he called Long Fei Master, which meant that he was Long Fei's war pet. It was just that Long Fei did not use beast mastery against the golden-furred giant ape. He basically did not have a beast mastery right now. So how could he subdue the golden-furred giant ape? Don't worry about that. It's better for him to call me Master than to kill me. It's a waste to pick up such an awesome war pet. Long Fei cleared his throat, regained his composure, and said, "You are my war pet." The giant golden ape nodded. "Yes, Master." Long Fei said, "I would like to know, how did you become my war pet?" Everything had to be made clear. The fairy beast's intelligence was shockingly high. Otherwise, even if he was played, he wouldn't know. The giant golden ape had a foolish look on his face as he said, "You saved me. If it wasn't for you, I would have already died, so you are my master. Long Fei said, It's that simple. The giant golden ape said, Also. Long Fei said, What else do you want to say? The giant golden ape said, If that dragon scale enters your body, I won't leave you alone. Huh? Long Fei looked at the golden-furred giant ape blankly, then suddenly understood in his heart. So that's how it is. The golden-furred ape said, Right now, everything I have is because of that dragon scale. He created me, so I want to monopolize him, but I know that this is impossible. It chose you as its master, and all of you are also my master. That was the real reason. Just because Long Fei saved his life was not enough to make him willingly become Long Fei's war pet, which harmed his dignity as a fairy beast. The dragon scale was the key. His IQ isn't lower than anyone else's. He knew clearly in his heart that only by following Long Fei would he be able to break through quickly. Back then, he was still a little ape and could not even be considered a demon beast. He was the lowest existence in the forest, and only by accidentally entering the cave and cultivating till the power of the dragon scale could he become a fairy beast. If he left Long Fei, his cultivation would not advance at all. It didn't matter if it was the demon beast or the humans. They all wanted to become strong. It was the same for the fairy beast. Are you able to sense the existence of the dragon scale? Long Fei asked. He could not feel it himself, but if the giant ape could sense it, maybe it could use his position to clear the dragon scales. The golden-furred ape said, I can only sense you. Long Fei glared at him and thought, forget it. So what if he could get rid of the dragon scale with his current power? The next dragon's squamous boundary would appear. Just as Long Batian said, getting rid of him was impossible. All along the way here, the things that Long Batian had arranged could be said to be omnipresent. He was like the shadow of Long Fei, and he couldn't get rid of it no matter where he went. Immediately, the most important thing was to level up. The mysterious man had said that the undead lord was about to come to the god-living mountain. At that time, no one in the Mu clan would be able to stop him. Long Fei had to become strong enough before the arrival of the undead lord. Actually, Long Fei did not know that the undead lord was already on the way here. The undying army had already gathered. Who knows how long it will take to reach the god-living mountain? Boss. In the distant mountain forest, Mu Yun's voice echoed. Not waiting for Long Fei to speak, the golden-furred giant ape glared at him and stared straight at a certain direction. In its vision, it had already locked onto Mu Yun and said, Master, someone's coming. Should we get rid of him? Long Fei looked at the golden-furred giant ape in a daze. You are my war pet. The golden-furred giant ape looked at Long Fei suspiciously. That's right. Long Fei said, My war pet. Then the monsters you kill should all belong to me. Ha ha. Ha. We've struck it big this time. Long Fei suddenly became excited, incomparably excited, because he found a way to level up. The giant golden ape said, Master, but getting closer and closer. Should we finish him off? He's my brother. All of Mu Clan's people are my brothers. No one from Mu Clan is allowed to kill him. That's right. Did you kill the first 5 people? Long Fei thought of the 5 of them. They were considered the elite disciples of the Mu clan. It was the power of his grandfather's clan. Even if they died, it would be a loss. The giant golden ape said, At that time, I was undergoing a tribulation and couldn't start a massacre. However, my injuries were not light. I should still be alive. Sure, find the 5 of them first. I want to see if they can be saved. Since the Mu clan is my grandfather's, of course, I have to help him. The golden-furred ape said, Understood, master. Long Fei said, Don't call me master anymore. We are on the same side now. From now on, you're my brother. You can call me boss. Brother? The golden-furred giant ape was stunned and immediately moved. He was a fairy beast. He also had his dignity. The war pet had suddenly become a brother. It could be said that the giant golden-furred ape was moved to tears. With a heavy leap, he was sent flying. I made it. Looking at the golden fur ape's back figure that was getting further and further away, Long Fei's heart started to boil. He felt like he was on stimulants and couldn't stop his excitement at all. This guy's fairy beast after his tribulation. How strong is this? This guy's simply upgrading his berserk machine. With this guy, I can laugh even in my dreams. Putting aside the issue of leveling up, the most important thing for him to do now was to savor. Putting aside the issue of leveling up, the most important thing for him to do now was to savor. Not long later, the golden-furred giant ape brought Mu Changfeng and the other four to Long Fei's side. Mu Yun looked at the golden-furred giant ape, both his eyes staring straight at it. He did not dare to look at it directly, and said in a low voice, "Boss, this guy." Long Fei checked Mu Changfeng and the other's injuries and said, "My war pet. It's a fairy beast at the divine tribulation realm." With just a simple sentence, Mu Yun's heart was already shaken to the point of being a complete mess. Long Fei said, "Their injuries are quite serious. If they are not treated in time, I'm afraid they won't be able to live for long." After all, they had to endure the berserk attacks of the giant golden ape. If they didn't die, that meant that their physical bodies were stronger than others, and their cultivation was higher than what the Holy Moon State could handle. As for their cultivations, now is not the time to think about such things. The higher his cultivation, the more Long Fei had to save. The higher the level, the more important it was to the Mu clan. Adding on the 2 people who were injured, this was 7 lives. He could not just stand by and watch as the enemy died. However, Long Fei looked at the 7 severely unconscious people on the ground and muttered, "They're all severely injured. How can we save them? There is no doubt that I will not be able to return to the Mu clan in such a short time, and I do not know how to cure him." He's not a doctor. At most, he could only examine Long Fei's injuries. He had no idea how to treat them at all. Furthermore, the pills in his possession only contained some holy source pills. Ordinary healing pills were useless against him. If he wanted to treat them, he would need high-grade medicinal pills or even a grand physician. Long Fei did not have any of these. Mu Yun said, "Boss, we can't even save them in the wilderness. Why don't we carry the 2 senior brothers whose injuries were slightly lighter than usual and finish there? A class mission? If so, then we can consider it as having completed the A-class mission." Indeed, if the 7 of them had to carry it back, they would die along the way. Long Fei locked the space between his brows. He didn't want to give up on 7 people. He was thinking of a way. However, just as he was thinking of a way out, thoughts naturally popped into his head, and he blurted out, "I need rank 7 gold coin, rank 8 soul flower, and rank 9 mountain spirit stone. And there's even the 7th stage demon beast, spirit blood." With each sentence said, even Mu Yun was a little stunned listening to them. He looked at Long Fei in a daze, unable to understand what he was saying. Not just Mu Yun. Long Fei himself was also incomparably shocked as he thought in his heart, "How do I know all this?" The idea moved and opened the system. However, there were no missions in the system, nor were there any prompts. It was clear that the previous mission was not the system's. If it was not the power of the system, then what was? After all, even he himself had never heard of the medicine names that Long Fei had mentioned before. It was too strange. Just as Long Fei was wondering, Long Quang said, "Master, where did you get the treatment method? This high-quality recipe, ah? I felt their injuries just now, and the recipe you said just now was completely suitable for their injuries. Even I don't know this much. How did you know?" Long Fei was secretly shocked and asked, "Flower Fairy, is that you?" Flower Fairy shook his head and said, "Sir, it's not me. I only know about the spirit grass, but I don't know how to configure them." If it wasn't you, if it wasn't Long Quang, then who could it be? Suddenly, Long Fei's gaze tensed up, his fists clenched involuntarily, as he said with a deep voice, "Could it be that he is Long Batian?" Earlier, when the dragon scale entered his body, it signed some sort of contract that he did not know of, and that dragon scale also said that it could make Long Fei omnipotent. Did it manifest itself now? Other than this possibility, there was another possibility. Long Fei had never thought of this possibility himself. That was his assembled heart. This special heart was constantly evolving his blood vein inherent skill over the past half a month. Was it his talent that exploded just now? Long Fei had never thought about this. The most dangerous place in the depths of God-living mountain was the spirit grass. Long Fei turned around to look at the giant golden-furred ape and asked, "Can you find the spirit grass that I mentioned earlier?" The giant golden ape said, "No problem." He was a fairy beast, and his intelligence was not inferior to humans. Furthermore, this entire area was his territory, so it was not difficult for him to find a few spirit grass. Long Fei said, "All right, you can go right now." The golden-furred giant ape said, "Boss, if there's a type of spirit grass that's more distant than you and me, then your safety." There were no dragon's squamous boundaries left here. Once the giant golden ape left the surrounding demon beasts that were eyeing it covetously, it would come closer. Long Fei said, "You don't have to worry about me. Quickly go and find these spear grass." All right. The giant, golden-furred ape did not stop there. It leaped with great force into the air and landed heavily hundreds of meters above the ground. A loud bang could be heard from afar. Rumble. With an explosive sound, the earth quaked and the mountains shook. Terrible. Muyin said, "Boss, this guy. This is too awesome." Indeed. An existence at the level of a tyrant of the golden fur giant ape. Long Fei was even more excited in his heart. After reviving these 7 people, he would be able to let the giant golden ape fly away and crazily hunt demon beast. At that time, he could level up even if he just lay there. Muyin asked, "Boss, what do we do now?" Long Fei said, "Wait for his return." Muyin said, "All right, I will go look around to see if I find anything." Muyin went to guard. Long Fei guarded the 7 people beside him. In his mind, he once again thought about what happened today. He was thinking about what the illusory image of the dragon's squamous boundary had said. How did he know I came from Earth? It's impossible for him to know. No one knows about this. Who exactly is Long Batian? He's already so strong. Why does he still need the things on me? What do you want from me? Could it be that you want my star relate to Dantian, just like the undead lord? My pubes. Long Fei subconsciously touched his abdomen with his right hand. For such a long period of time, he did not find anything different about the pubes, nor did he manage to cultivate the strong power of the pubes. He was relying on the system to level up, as if the pubes had nothing to do with him. However, Long Fei knew clearly in his heart that this star relate to Dantian must have some kind of powerful energy. It was just that he had yet to discover it, and he still did not know how to cultivate it. Is Long Batian doing this for the pubes? He's already Ancient World's #1 powerhouse. What do you need this pubes for? Black and White once said that Long Batian failed. What did he fail? Because what failed? The more he thought about it, the more Long Fei felt that he was too terrifying. It was impossible to guess what he wanted at all. Long Fei was unable to confirm what Long Batian wanted. Or do you mean that he wants? Just as his mind was thinking about this, Muyin suddenly rushed over anxiously and said, "Boss, there's a situation." "Boss, something's wrong. Boss, something's wrong." Muyin ran over in a hurry and gasped for breath. Coming. Long Fei said, "Calm down, what's coming?" Flower Fairy also immediately said, "A large wave of demon beasts have come." Muyin said, "A lot of demon beasts have come." Long Fei frowned, his lips curled up as he said, "With demon beast here, what are you afraid of? Kill them all." Muyin said, "It's not just 1 or 2 beasts, but a large group of beasts. I have never seen such a large beast herd before. He wanted to escape, because the horde of beasts charged over in all directions, each and every one of them looking like they had gone mad. That scene was truly too frightening. They were just the god state. How could they resist them? You can't leave. If we leave, they are dead," Long Fei said resolutely. They were the elites of the Mu clan, the hard work of his grandfather. Grandfather saved him, and the Mu clan took him in. This was his home. Even though some of the disciples of the Mu clan laughed at him, and even though he was only a servant of the Mu clan, he had never complained in his heart, because this place was his mother's family. Muyin said, "If we don't leave, how will we defend against it?" The flower fairy also said, "Sir, there are really a lot of them. I have never seen such a beast horde before. Logically speaking, this is the territory of fairy beast. Even if they leave, these demon beasts would still be afraid. It's impossible for them to come so quickly and fiercely." The dragon Kwang also followed. That's right, the giant golden ape is a tribulation stage fairy beast. Even if he left the normal demon beast, they wouldn't dare to approach him. Unless something is controlling them. Master, could it be that the fairy beast betrayed her? After he left, she immediately summoned her demon beast to attack you. One must know that the fairy beast had the ability to summon groups of beasts. I will listen to your commands. Just as the giant golden ape left, the beast tide came. Was there such a coincidence? This caused Long Kwang to suspect that the giant ape had betrayed them. Long Fei frowned and opened up a system. The system inside the War Pet bar stated that the condition of the giant golden-furred ape was normal. In other words, it was not at the side as it said. The golden-furred will not betray us. Long Kwang Dao. If he didn't betray us, who can control the beast tide? Master, he is a fairy beast. His intelligence doesn't belong to us. I'm worried about him. Long Fei said straightforwardly. You don't have to worry about that. He hasn't betrayed us. He didn't want to explain anything. Seeing that, Long Kwang did not dare to say anything more, and said, if there wasn't someone controlling them, then these demon beasts could have gone crazy for a single reason and received some kind of powerful stimulation. Muyin said, Boss, we're getting closer. Rumble, rumble, rumble. Huge explosive sounds of footsteps could be heard. The towering trees in the distance continued to topple down, and they were trampled into powder by the demon beast. Crash! Walala! Dust and smoke billowed, and giant trees collapsed. The scene was truly too frightening. At the back of the herd, there were 6 people in a row, and each of them was riding a special mount. The reason it was special was because all of these mounts were skeletons. They did not have any fur or flesh on them, but rather a huge skeleton, as long as its eye sockets flickered with a dark green light. The huge skeleton shook and swayed. These 6 mounts seemed to have come from hell itself. The mount was Gui Shou. The people on the mounts also emitted an aura of death. All of them were dressed in black cloaks and had a hideous ghost mask on their faces. Sitting on Gui Shou's back, they looked at the beast tide. There was a young demon beast that couldn't keep up with them. One of them flicked his finger. A cyan-colored holy source that resembled a magic strap moved on his finger and directly restrained the cub, causing it to move slightly. All that was left of the cub was its skeleton. The skeleton did not die, but continued to let out wails, as if its soul had been dragged into hell. When many demon beasts saw this scene, they charged forward like madmen, not daring to stop at all. Ha ha! Summon all the beasts in God-living mountain to Mu Clan. This way, when a master arrives, Mu Clan and the rest will feel their scalps go numb from dealing with these demon beasts, and they won't have the mood to activate the spatial teleportation technique. Elder's trick is brilliant. The demon beast has gone crazy. The first thing the Mu Clan has to do is deal with the demon beast before they finish dealing with it. Master and his men have probably already killed their way to the ancestral temple in the Mu Clan. A mere Mu Clan dares to oppose my master? He's simply courting death. Why did Master use the power of the Xians? Or is it that Master wants to hide something? Don't know what you shouldn't know. If the Master finds out about it, you will know the consequences. His voice was cold, and no one dared to speak anymore. They were very clear about the methods of the undead lord. Rumble, rumble. The sound shook the heavens. The location of the Mu Clan was deep inside the God-living mountain. Such a powerful sound was quickly known by the Mu Clan. North District, Chamber. Muatai's face became gloomy, and he sat on the patriarch's seat. He was now the acting patriarch, and had absolute authority in the Mu Clan. Over the past month, he had initiated a series of reforms. Many of the elders had been replaced. He really enjoyed this feeling of being high and mighty, of having power. This feeling made him comfortable. What happened? Why is the god-living mountain in such a violent turmoil? Muatai said. An elder said, reporting to clan leader, it should be a beast tide. It is not a big deal. The beast tide happens every year. However, no matter how powerful the beast tide was, they would not dare to enter the Mu clan's territory because they were afraid. The Mu clan was also an ancient family. Forget about their background. Just the almighty powerhouses alone were numerous, and no matter how powerful the demon beast were, they would not dare to rashly approach them. Moreover, the Mu clan possessed the spatial laws, so it was impossible for them to charge into the Mu clan. Beast tide, Muhatai said indifferently. An elder stood up from the other side and said, logically speaking, there shouldn't be any beast tide at this time. This time, the beast tide is a bit strange, and from the sounds of it, the beast herd is very large. It has never happened in God-living mountain before. Patriarch, I suggest that you send someone to investigate. Investigation? Haha. Mu Jingchong, were you scared? God-living mountain's demon beast is not afraid of us, but do they dare to rush here? Even if we rush to our Mu clan's territory, those beasts will not be enough for us to kill. Exactly. It's just a beast tide. There's always a beast tide every year. What are you investigating for? The beast tide was not a big deal to the Mu clan. No one cares. Mu Jingtian said, even if we don't investigate, what about the disciples that are training in mountains? What are they going to do? You're stupid. Do you think everyone else is as stupid as you? You know that the beast tide is still not back yet, and your brain is filled with water? Haha. Many of the elders began to laugh. Muhatai coughed lightly and said, pass down the order. Get those Mu clan disciples to come back as soon as possible. As for investigating the beast tide, forget it. Deep in God-living mountain, Mu Yun's face was pale as he said, I'm here. I'm really here. Long Fei stood in front and clenched his fists tightly, his mouth curving up into a smile. It's here. It's here. A large wave of experience is here. What was the most important thing to Long Fei right now? What was the most important thing to Long Fei right now? Not holy artifact, not fairy beast, but experience level. The reason he had Mu Xingyun's Identity J tablet was so that he could enter the God-living mountain to kill monsters and level up, but the reason was, throughout the journey, Long Fei had not met many demon beasts, as he was currently only at the 8th stage of the Divine God realm. Not even in the Divine Moon realm. With such a level, even the South Area's assessment Long Fei wouldn't be able to pass. He longed for experience, yearning to level up. Relying on the system, he could only get stronger with a higher level. He had been depressed for the past half-month because of his slow leveling speed, but now, this sudden appearance of a large wave of demon beast was equivalent to a large wave of experience. If he could eat this large wave of experience, his level would definitely increase by quite a lot. Fight! Long Fei's eyes lit up. He rubbed his nose. I am waiting for this moment even in my dreams. Bring it on. Long Fei's right hand sank, immediately pulling out the Dong Huang sword, and said, God Sword Spirit, condense for me. Wang. As the sword Qi condensed, it was as if the air had condensed into ice crystals. Instantly, it transformed into a sword. The sword blade released an ice-cold sword Qi that released outwards, with Long Fei as the center. A sword Qi vortex with a radius of 10 meters appeared. One ring after another was released. Long Fei looked at Mu Yun and said, You stay. As soon as he finished, Long Fei heavily leaped forward, directly jumping 10 meters away. His gaze locked onto a third-stage demon beast at the very front, and with both hands on his sword, he shouted, Kill! The sword slashed out. The sword Qi was like a white frost, slashing out. Bam! That demon beast directly fell to the ground, with half of its head bleeding. It cried out in pain, and the moment it fell, it crawled up from the ground and rushed forward once again without waiting for a second. This aura, savage beyond compare. Its eyes were bloodshot. It is also filled with fear. Why is there fear in the eyes of the demon beast? And it's not even just a little, Could it be that there's an even stronger demon beast behind them? Long Fei could feel the fear in the demon beast's eyes, but he was sure that the fear definitely did not come from him, but from a type of monster that was countless times stronger than these demon beasts. However, no matter who controlled these demon beasts, it didn't matter to Long Fei because what he wanted was experience. He raised his sword and slashed down once again. Chua! When the demon beast's blood ran down, its body fell to the ground. This time, before he could even get up, he was stomped to death by the demon beast chasing him from behind, and his intestines were all over the floor. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining 6,700 experience, 700 holy source points, and 1 striking value. Again, Long Fei thrust it out again. Swish, swish. The long swords kept on attacking, specifically attacking the demon beast at the front, and only attacking their legs. Those demon beasts could not care less about him, allowing him to attack however he wished. He basically did not need to do anything extra to defend himself. This was because these demon beasts did not dare think about anything else besides running wildly. Even his own companions wouldn't be able to do so. Bam! Rumble! A demon beast fell and was instantly submerged by the beast tide. Soon, a system announcement sounded out in Long Fei's mind. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei. Too slow. Too slow. Long Fei was not satisfied with his current speed. Furthermore, these demon beasts were sprinting too fast. He did not want to get entangled with them at all. He could only injure some of the demon beast's legs and use the attacks of the demon beast behind them to stomp and kill them. Got it. The demon beast did not pester and only sprinted. This made Long Fei feel very depressed. He couldn't think of any other way, so he could only run along with the demon beast and continuously injure them. What is the situation with the beast tide? Since it was a monster tide, then it should be aimed at the humans. Demon beasts were just like monsters in the game. A beast tide was a monster siege, and they were all monsters with red names. When they saw players, they would immediately charge forward with their hammers. But the monsters in front of them were attacking the city. Is this demon beast taking my air? Damn it, do I not want face? Do I not have dignity? What do you take me for? Long Fei was angry just thinking about it, but he couldn't understand what was going on with this beast tide. Taking a step back, even if it was done by the giant golden ape, it should be aimed at him. However, the direction these demon beasts were running towards was not towards them. Strange, strange. Long Fei guessed as he struck out with his sword. Although he did not kill many demon beasts, it was at least an experience. Looking at such a huge group of demon beasts, Long Fei's heart throbbed. If I lead these demon beasts into the abyss and fall to their deaths, wouldn't that be my experience? I don't have any area-off effect skills. If I want to kill them on a large scale, I'll have to use terrain advantage. Experience, experience. We can't waste it. Long Fei kept on killing. What a pity. The experience gained was still not enough. After more than 2 hours, the experience slot had only increased a little. It was useless to continue like this. He could not think of any other way. These beasts were not under his control due to fear, so he could only kill them one by one. Gue Shou slowly walked forward with the 6 skeletons. Suddenly, one of them found the dead body of the demon beast on the ground, sword wound. Could it be that someone wants to fight against this beast tide? Block! Haha, you overestimate yourself. Could it be an expert from the Mu clan? No, the sword wound does not seem very strong. However, the sword chi is extremely strong. That's right. The sword chi from the sword wound was very abundant, but this person's cultivation should not even reach the divine moon realm. A disciple trained by the Mu clan? A mere disciple dares to resist the beast tide. They'll soon be crushed into dust by the monster tide. It stopped for a moment. A few more corpses of demon beast were trampled into pieces, but the eyes of these 6 people were sinister because they once again saw the sword wound on the broken demon beast's corpse. It was a sword wound filled with huge sword chi. Just a single glance was enough to make them feel that the sword chis were extremely strong. However, A few more looks made them feel that the sword chis were especially strong. What kind of person is able to release such a sword chi? I'm afraid even those absolute powerhouse of the way of the sword would find it hard to obtain such sword chi. This sword chi is so wonderful. However, what a pity. It was a pity that with a single word, the six of them smiled faintly at the same time. Because, unfortunately, the consequences would be destruction. One of the six slightly waved his palm under his black robe, and an invisible, evil power of death appeared. Buzz! A muffled sound rang out in the void. In that instant, the demon beast in the midst of the beast tide glanced at the side, then changed its direction and directly locked onto Long Fei. Since someone is resisting, then let the resistance die. You have to die sooner or later anyway. Anyway, this god-living mountain will disappear in a few days. The six of them sat on Gue Shou's back leisurely. The god-living mountain were all disciples of the Mu clan, so of course the people training in the mountain were all disciples of the Mu clan. Thus, naturally, it was just one word, kill. How many seconds do you think he can hold? 5 seconds is the most. Ha ha, I think so too. I bet 3 seconds. The beast tide changed directions. He did not change his direction, but his gaze was locked on Long Fei. Long Fei did not realize at first, but it was just that. The gigantic herd of beasts suddenly stopped and looked at Long Fei. Long Fei also stopped. He was shocked. Holy sh**t. What's going on? Why are you all looking at me? Long Fei's heart went cold. He could see waves of ruthless and savage aura in the eyes of these demon beasts. Crap! Long Fei subconsciously retreated. Without thinking too much, he ran. Because if he didn't run now, he would turn into minced meat in the next second. In the instant that he took his first step, those demon beasts caught up to him as if they had gone mad. Damn you! What kind of plane is this? This time, Long Fei was even more confused. The eyes of these demon beasts were completely different from the first time. There would definitely be a high-level powerhouse who would be able to control them. Moreover, at first, the demon beasts were all in one direction, but now they were all aiming at him. Obviously, someone had controlled the demon beast to change their original target. Terrain. I want a special terrain. I need to have a special terrain. If I can control it well, I can turn all these demon beasts into experience. Long Fei clenched his fists. He quickly rushed to a mountain peak. Dust and smoke billowed behind him as he used all sorts of methods to pull them apart. In the distance, he's on the hill. No, he's dead. Ha ha ha. That's right. There is no way back to that mountain peak. It is an endless abyss below us, and even if it wasn't torn apart by the demon beast, it would have at least fallen down and died. In the eyes of the six of them, Long Fei was already a dead man. It was just that Long Fei was betting. He was gambling that behind the mountain was a cliff. If it was a cliff, then he had a chance. Long Fei held his breath and thought to himself, it must be a cliff, and the best would be a bottomless abyss. It must be that. The game system was the same as the game. If he wanted to gain experience, he had to deal damage to the demon beast. They would only have experience if the demon beast that caused the damage died. Right now, he had Deep Abyss. This was the advantage of the terrain, and he needed an AoE skill. Moreover, it had to be an AoE skill. Only in this way would he be able to gain experience. Of the skills that Long Fei was cultivating, the system only recognized two, the 8-burst fist and the God's chop. These two skills weren't AoE attacks. With Long Fei's cultivation of 8th stage, no matter how good his holy source was, it was useless. Combine all sorts of different things. Long Fei was simply unable to obtain this large wave of experience. But Long Fei did not panic. He was incomparably calm because he was very clear about his own strength. He was very clear about the skills he cultivated, and he was even more clear about the power of the system. The 8-burst fist's range was limited. They could only deal small-scale damage. It was useless. Taking out the 8-burst fist, that was the God's chop. This was a lock ability. Only target attacks can be selected. However, what if he didn't have a goal? What would that be like? What if you don't choose a target among a large group of targets? The God's Chop was Long Fei's ultimate attack from the first to the outburst of violent energy. Bang, bang, bang. Hoo, 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 hoo. Hoo, 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 hoo. We're here. We've finally reached the mountain peak. Long Fei rushed to the summit while gasping for breath. Looking forward, he was so excited that he almost jumped up. Huh. The bet was right. Behind us is indeed a cliff. It seems like even the heavens are helping me. Rumble, rumble. With only Long Fei in their eyes, it was as if a command had been passed on to them. Kill Long Fei. Kill Long Fei. Only by killing this target could they extricate themselves from that fear. But when they saw Long Fei stop, they did not stop and continued to madly charge forward. All the trees on a mountain peak collapsed and were filled with demon beastess. Lord, there's no other way. Master, with your current cultivation level, I'm afraid that if you fall off the cliff, what should we do? Flower Fairy's face was filled with anxiety. Long Quang was also extremely worried. In the distance, Mu Yin looked at Long Fei, who was at the top of the mountain, and his eyes narrowed. Boss! In another place, deep within the ravine between the two mountain peaks, the golden-furred giant ape plucked a spirit grass that Long Fei had spoken of. He looked at Long Fei, who was already standing at the edge of the cliff. He let out a furious roar. He pushed himself up with his arms, and his huge body swiftly flew out. He wanted to use the aura of the fairy beast to crush those demon beasts. What a pity. Useless. These demon beasts were not afraid of any terrifying aura, because even the most terrifying aura was not as terrifying as death for them. Fairy beast, this god-living mountain is indeed worthy of being one of the divine mountains from the ancient era. There are actually fairy beastess here. I wonder who is stronger compared to our fairy beast. All right, that kid is going to die. It's time. The six of them stopped and stared at the distant mountain peaks. At this moment, Long Fei raised his sword with both hands, causing the idea to sink. God's sword spirit, I need you to release your strongest sword chi. Huff! I will inject all of my holy source. This strike, I'm going to kill this mountain. As soon as he finished, Long Fei leaped into the air and flew straight up into the sky. At the same time, the demon beast rushed up one by one. God's Chop, Long Fei roared. The system sounded out. Ding! System prompt. Please lock onto the target. Target. Haha. My goal. It's this land, it's this mountain, it's these millions of demon beasts. Kill. Under Long Fei's control, several tens of thousands of holy sources worth were poured out and completely released. His gaze locked onto a mountain on the ground. He gripped his sword with both hands. Wong! The god's sword spirit exploded, shooting into the sky like a beam of light. Rumble! The sword chi spread outwards. The color of Xuan'an Bai's sword chi was incomparably glaring, directly covering the scorching sun in the sky. The six of them were stunned. This sword chi? What kind of sword chi is this? Never. God states cultivation can release such a powerful sword chi. So what if I can release it? A cultivation realm is everything. His realm is too useless. Moreover, after this sword attack, he will fall down into the abyss. He bellowed. Kill. Both of his hands struck down heavily. The 1,000-meter-long god's sword spirit was slashed down by the god's chop's immense killing power. The mountain broke. The demon beasts were all injured. But their target was Long Fei. He rushed down the cliff without hesitation. This was what Long Fei wanted. A large wave of experience gained. The sword chi of the god's chop reached 1,000 meters long. All the demon beasts within 1,000 meters were injured by this powerful sword chi. The sword chi of the god's chop reached 1,000 meters long. All the demon beasts within 1,000 meters were injured by this powerful sword chi. 231, 212, 199. A large amount of damage values floated up. It was densely packed. Although he did not directly kill them, the attacking range of this group injury cultivation technique was too large. If the damage was added together, it would definitely be a terrifying number. After this sword strike, all of Long Fei's holy source points have been used up. This time, there was no target to instantly kill, so his skills couldn't be reset, and he couldn't use the second slash. However, looking at the large amount of damage done floating up into the air, the corner of Long Fei's mouth hooked up as he exclaimed, "It's done." He had done what he had to do. Now, he was waiting for a huge wave of experience to arrive. It was just that, right now, Long Fei's body was not even worth a little bit of holy source. He, who was in midair, instantly fell down the cliff, landing there with a smile on his face. In the distance, the six of them watched as Long Fei slashed down with his sword, all six of them stunned for a moment. The sword aura is like a rainbow. This sword aura, it's really amazing. Indeed, extremely beautiful, but it's just a bunch of fancy fists and fancy legs, but the damage that the sword chi caused was like fur. It had no practical use at all. Not even one demon beast was killed. You're right. It was a bunch of bullsh tea, but it was actually a 250. Haha, disciple of the Mu clan? He's just trash. The six of them were extremely disdainful. At first, they thought that the people who could release that kind of deadly sword chi were very powerful, but now they felt very disappointed. No. They could not use the word disappointed because they had never expected anything, because all of them would die. Roar. Boom. The golden-furred giant ape ran over as if it was going crazy and watched Long Fei falling off the cliff. The distance between Golden Fur and Long Fei was too far. Although his speed was fast, he was still unable to reach Long Fei's side at the first moment. However, Long Fei dropped from the sky and stared at the sky. He had never felt so calm in his heart before, because there was a black mass of demon beasts in the sky. One by one, they charged down. The target of these demon beasts were Long Fei. If Long Fei did not die, they would not stop. Plus, there were too many demon beasts at the top of the mountain. Under such a wild speed, even high-level demon beasts were unable to control their bodies, and the demon beast behind them continued to rush forward to create a huge impact. Bam! Bam! Bang! The entire sky was filled with demon beastess. It was simply a rain of demon beast. As the demon beast fell, Long Fei laughed to himself. It's here. Boom! A demon beast fell down into the abyss. His body was smashed to smithereens. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining 8,000 experience points when killing 4th-ranked demon beast, 800 points for holy source, and 1 point for striking value. After the first demon beast died, the rest of the demon beast fell to the ground like bombs. Boom! Boom! Rumble! His body exploded as it fell onto the ground. System beep. Ding. Ding. Ding, ding, ding. An explosion, a prompt. A prompt sounded, followed by an explosion. The sound was like fireworks. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. It was incomparably wonderful. To Long Fei, this was the most wonderful sound. The experience bar was going wild. 30 seconds later. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up. Current level, Sky God 9th pin. A minute and a half later. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up. Current level, Mystic Moon Realm level 1. 2 minutes later. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up. The current level is 2nd level of the Divine Moon Realm. I'll level up in 5 minutes. A few minutes later, he leveled up once again. Moreover, although Long Fei fell off the cliff, he leveled up the instant before he landed and fully recovered his holy source. He immediately released it to control his body to land safely. After landing on the ground, he hid himself in a safe location and looked at the system interface. He watched as his experience bar continuously soared. This feeling, too awesome. That kid should have been smashed to smithereens by now. You can make those demon beasts turn to the Mu clan now. We lost quite a few demon beasts. The 6 of them looked at the demon beastess that were charging down continuously from the peak of the mountain in the distance. A person stepped forward. He squinted his eyes and entered a meditative state. His consciousness entered the demon beast sea of consciousness, wanting to give out the command. However, in that instant, his eyes turned cold as he was shocked. He's not dead yet? That kid isn't dead yet? The five of them jolted simultaneously. That's impossible. With the God State's cultivation, if the holy source is overdrawn, no matter how strong the body is, it will fall to its death, not to mention that there are still so many demon beasts. That's not right. If that kid died, then these demon beasts would not rush down the cliff again. If they did, then that would mean that the kid did not die. The faces of the 6 men darkened. There was shock in his eyes, but it was mostly anger. Because, for a trash from the God State to not die even like this was undoubtedly humiliating to them. He didn't die even like that, right? All right, then I'll play with you myself. As soon as he finished speaking, a head of Gue's show turned into a ball of green flame and disappeared with a whoosh. In the distance, a ball of green flame flickered continuously and quickly flew towards the valley below the mountain peak. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up. Current level. Mystic Moon 5th pin. He leveled up once again. It was so satisfying that he didn't want it. The experience points was still wildly rising, and the number of demon beasts that had rushed down from the mountain peak did not decrease at all. Long Fei stood still like this and watched the experience trough roll about with an indescribable happiness in his heart. It's practically the heavens sending their experience. It feels so good. My current strength. Long Fei clenched his fists tightly and felt the power in his body, and suddenly, from the depths of his pubes, an energy aura that was like the crescent moon appeared. This should be the power of the Holy Moon State's divine moon, right? Haha, it is indeed different, but inside my pubes this radiant of the divine moon is a bit too weak. If not for the fact that Long Fei had just leveled up to the Holy Moon State and had only noticed the power of the divine moon when he felt the power within his body, he would not have been able to sense the existence of the divine moon within the pubes at all. The feeling of the power of the divine moon in his pubes was too weak. Star relate to Dantian. It was as boundless as the universe. Even a planet as small as the moon could not be considered a speck of dust in the universe. There was naturally no feeling of the power of the divine moon in his pubes. Oh, Star relate to Dantian. Pubes. How can I unleash the power of your pubes? How should I train? Sigh. Long Fei sighed softly. Just as he retracted his idea and was about to retract the power of the divine moon, his eyes suddenly tightened. This is... When the idea withdrew, so did the divine moon's power. When the idea withdrew, so did the divine moon's power. Just as Shunyu retracted her power, a light flashed inside the pubes. It could not be considered strong, but Long Fei could clearly feel that this light was different from the others. This was the first time Long Fei had felt the change in the star relate to Dantian. It was a bit surprising. Long Fei was secretly shocked in his heart. What is this? Is it the power of the pubes? Or something else? A flash in the pan? Long Fei withdrew the power of the divine moon. As the divine moon's radiance dimmed within the pubes, the meteor-like radiance also suddenly disappeared. Cooperate with each other? That's not right. They are all inside the pubes. How could they be in cahoots with each other? That's not right. The power of the divine moon is the power of my realm. The radiance of the meteors should be the power of the pubes. How can they match? No reason. Long Fei couldn't understand. In the past, Long Fei would always give up on things that he could not understand, because Long Fei could not be bothered to think about things that required brain cells to understand. However, at this moment, Long Fei didn't know why, but he wanted to find out why. Dragon Quang, the power of the divine moon, is able to attract the power of my pubes, and these two energies are able to form a resonance. Why is that? Long Fei asked. Did not say anything about Long Quang being by Long Fei's side, but it was clear that Long Quang definitely knew about it. There was nothing to hide here. As Long Fei was thinking about this question, Long Quang was also thinking, Master, the power of the divine moon is also known as the splendor of the divine moon. The reason this realm is called the Divine Moon is because it can sense the power of the Divine Moon. The radiance of the Divine Moon is the second realm of the divine space, and it is also attraction force. Once you step into the holy moon state, there will immediately be a response from within your pubes. This might be a form of resonance, like the power of awakening. Long Fei asked, "Are you saying that the power of the Divine Moon can awaken the power within my pubes?" His heart was in a frenzy. The star relate to Dantian had always made Long Fei very depressed. It was obviously very strong, but it was unable to be released. He could not find a way to break it. Dragon Quang had never seen this kind of star relate to Dantian. He had never seen the God's Pavilion before, but he had used it before, and even the soul of the king of Hen tribe was awakened. Undead Lord sensed his pubes. He desperately wanted it. All of these things proved that Long Fei's pubes was extremely powerful. Long Quang Dao, "I'm not sure. It's just a guess. The pubes is in your body. Only you can truly feel its power." "Master, everything depends on you." Long Fei said indifferently, "I understand." The idea moved, releasing the power of the Divine Moon from the pubes once again. At the same time, the disappearing shooting starlight that shone from the endless world of pubes appeared once again. The two rays of light resonated. Long Fei was not in a hurry to withdraw the Divine Moon splendor. With a move of the idea, he directly entered the world of pubes. He wanted to find the connection between the two. There must be a connection point. The pubes' interior was vast and endless. There was starlight shining and also endless darkness, just like the night sky in the universe. Long Fei's idea swam in the world of pubes. Starting from the splendor of the Divine Moon, it flew towards the shooting star. Power flowed. Time was running out. The world was incomparably quiet, giving Long Fei an incomparably satisfied feeling. Very comfortable. This feeling was hard to describe. While searching, he would also sense his surroundings. Long Fei moved closer to the meteor, and the closer he got, the more he felt the difference in the light aura of the meteor. If the Divine Moon was said to be yin, then the meteor's radiance was said to be yang. One yin, one yang, resonating with each other. Moreover, Long Fei looked at the shooting star and thought of the sun in the solar system. Very similar. Very similar. A few minutes later, Long Fei's idea stood in front of that special light. And in front of that light, he was just like a tiny grain of black sand. It's simply a huge plane, luminous plane, an existence as powerful as the sun. There were many planes of light in the universe, but the gigantic planet in front of Long Fei shone with a radiance as bright as fire. It was extremely dazzling. At the same time, the power in his face was also like the light it emitted. It was incomparably hot, boiling, and surging endlessly. What a powerful strength. If I can completely control the power of this plane, then fragments of his memories recalled the gobbledygook that he cultivated in, directly using a plane to smash a person to death. At that time, the plane was the Death Star. Other than its weight, it didn't have any other strength. The shining plane in front of him was different. Long Fei could clearly feel the powerful strength it was emitting. Is this the power of my pubes? How can I use it? The hell! If I can release all of this power, this move would probably destroy half of ancient world, right? My darling. Long Fei swallowed his saliva. No way. Facing such a powerful force, it would be a pity if I can't use it. Long Fei's idea sank and started to ponder as he looked at the incomparably powerful glowing plane. He thought about how to release this power from the pubes. Outside, there were many demon beasts. Just now, he had caused a portion of them to suffer less than a tenth of the damage. It was a pity that he did not kill so many demon beasts. There must be a way. There must be a way. Long Fei's heart was firm. He couldn't possibly let a beautiful woman, who was stripped naked, keep twisting and turning in front of him, so he could only watch and not make a move, right? This was too unbearable. There must be a way. Long Fei entered into a state of deep thought. His thoughts flew. Unknowingly, he started to think even faster and faster. If Bailey Tianhai was still around, he would definitely be shocked to the core. Because, with Long Fei's current speed of thinking, not even his 8 brain geniuses would be able to do it. Just as Long Fei was thinking, the wisp got closer and closer. In just a few breaths, they had covered dozens of miles. Buzz! Boom! The ghost flame flashed and directly rushed out from the void. The incomparably huge Gui Shou's steed swayed its bony tail, green fire burning in its eyes as it looked at the demon beasts that were falling from the sky one after another on the mountain peak. Gui Shou's eyes were filled with contempt. Similarly, the black robe man on Gui Shou's back stared at a cliff with gloomy eyes. There was a person sitting under the rock wall. He was Long Fei, 4th level of the Divine Moon. It is obviously the god's state. How did he break through to the 4th stage of the Divine Moon in just half an hour? Monster? Or is it hiding my cultivation? He noticed the change in cultivation realm on Long Fei's body. At the same time, right at this moment, S experience points was fully filled and once again leveled up, directly reaching the 5th stage of the Divine Moon realm. The aura of his realm changed once again. 5th level of the Divine Moon realm. I just broke through. Is this little brat abnormal? No matter what it is, I'm going to die soon. If the splendor of the Divine Moon is the moon, then this beam of light is the sun's splendor. If the splendor of the Divine Moon is the moon, then this beam of light is the sun's splendor. The power of the sun and moon. Alien attraction? Is that so? Long Fei pondered. Because he was too engrossed, he did not sense any danger from afar, and did not see Gui Shou at all. She was not more than 100 meters away from him. At this moment, it was as if he was just a step away from breaking through to the next realm. He was completely focused, and even the system's constant beeps could no longer be heard. He really wanted to step over it. I don't know how to use the powerful pubes. The pain was unbearable. It was just like in his previous life when there were trillions of dollars in his bank card, yet he had forgotten the password and couldn't afford to lose it. How unbearable was that? This was the feeling that Long Fei had now. No matter what, I have to give it a try. Long Fei stood in front of the ball of dazzling light, and with a move of the idea, it immediately released the power of the holy moon state. Go! Buzz! The radiance of the divine moon stirred. Power gushed out. At the same time that it rushed out, the power of the light erupted even more violently. The two forces clashed in close quarters. In the instant of contact, Long Fei's eyes were about to go blind. The two energies were like two planes colliding, causing an explosion that seemed to destroy the heavens and the earth. Rumble! 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 Long Fei's pubes roared incessantly, and his abdomen felt a sharp pain, causing his face to instantly turn pale white. Blood trickled down from the corner of his mouth, and his health point had also been reduced by more than half, to only a third. Holy sh*T, Long Fei said fiercely. The strength of my pubes could even injure me? What the f***ck is this pubes? What exactly is the power behind it? Very irritable. The divine moon acted as the lead. That beam of light was like a super explosive, igniting the fuse and instantly causing it to explode. The resulting force was too terrifying. Even if Long Fei was just an idea in the middle of a pubes, the idea was born from his body, so his body was still affected. A single idea was enough to take half of his life. If it was his own real face's body, he would not even be left with ashes. The strength was too great. Although Long Fei was injured, he was very excited, because this was the first time he used his own strength to activate the pubes' power. Although he didn't step over this foot, but he saw hope. Shinyu acted as the guide. It seems that I was heading in the right direction. It's just that I wasn't able to control my strength well, causing it to collapse and collide with each other. If I can control my strength well, then this power will most likely be controlled and released by me. That must be it. Again. At such a critical juncture, even if Long Fei was injured, he did not want to stop. He was afraid that if he stopped, he would lose this opportunity. Again, Long Fei consumed a few heal pills, recovering his health point quite a bit. The idea moved and entered the pubes. Amongst the pubes, he used the power of the divine moon to find that glowing plane. With a move of the idea, he controlled the power of the divine moon's radiance. Rumble. The moment it was released, the splendor of the mystic moon ignited the power of that plane of light once again. Another violent collision occurred. Even though it was not as intense as before, it still took half a strand of Long Fei's blood. Blood dripped from the corner of his mouth. However, this time, Long Fei laughed, as expected. The right path. Ha ha! He was very excited because it was just as he had thought. He could control the power of the radiant of the divine moon as long as he controlled it well. I finally grasped a bit of it. Long Fei was extremely excited. At this moment, Long Quang suddenly shouted, "Master, there's danger." Flower Fairy also anxiously said, "Master, it's dangerous." As the two people reminded him, Long Fei also opened his eyes and wondered in his heart, could it be that the demon beast fell down from the peak of the mountain and didn't die? He was in a concave shape, surrounded by cliffs, and when he landed he checked that there were no living creatures. If there was danger at this time, then it must be because the demon beast had not died yet. However, when he shifted his gaze to look at the skeleton Gui show in the distance, the two balls of green ghost flames in his eyes seemed to stare at him, preventing him from moving at all. The skeleton Gui show reminded Big Dipper. It looked like a skeleton, but it would forever be an unspeakably powerful force. The important thing was, this Gui show's body released a golden light. Boss. Without a doubt, only a boss would emit this kind of golden light. However, Long Fei had only glanced at Gui Shou before he was immediately attracted by the black robe man on Gui Shou's back. It wasn't because of his appearance, nor was it because of the mask on his face, nor was it because of the deathly aura radiating from his body. It was the same as Gui Shou, the golden light radiating from his body, an extremely dazzling light. It was several times more dazzling than the light emitted by Gui Shou. If Gui Shou was a boss, then the guy on his back was a super boss. Damn, two bosses. The golden light is so dazzling. Gudong. Long Fei forcefully swallowed his saliva. If he did not, his saliva would have flowed out. However, Long Quang's words brought him back to reality. Master, he's a powerhouse of the Howren realm. You're not his match. Run quickly. Flower Fairy could not help but say, Master, this guy is too strong. It was like shattering Long Fei's dream and reverting back to its original form. Howren realm? The realm above the Holy Moon State was the infinite heaven stage, and the realm of Howren was one level higher than the limitless heaven stage. Forget about the God's Chop cooling. Even if it didn't, Long Fei wouldn't be able to kill a powerhouse of that level, and even that Gui Shou wasn't his match. Long Fei's heart trembled. The God's Chop is cooling my cultivation. Damn, do you want me to give up on killing bosses? No, that's absolutely impossible. How can we not kill the boss when we see it? The boss was Long Fei's flesh and blood. How could it be forsaken? Absolutely not. Moreover, this kind of situation, this kind of terrain, was not something that Long Fei could escape just because he wanted to. The black robe man on Gui Shou's back locked onto him coldly with murderous intent in his eyes. Flee. There was no way he could escape. Long Fei also didn't think of escaping. Gui Shou took a step forward. The ground shook. Gui Shou's aura immediately covered the entire valley, enveloping Long Fei as well. A ruthless and savage aura directly crushed Long Fei's body. The man on Gui Shou's back also coldly snorted. You're a disciple of the Mu clan? Long Fei stood up and said, Yes. Black Robe Man said indifferently, You're not bad. Long Fei faintly replied, and was not modest in the slightest. I know. The corners of Black Robe Man's mouth hooked up as he said, What a pity. You appeared in the wrong place, otherwise you wouldn't have died today. It's a pity that you were born in the wrong place. Otherwise, you might not have to die today. Combining all these together, so you must die today. His words were extremely cold, not because of the pressure from his aura, but because it was a type of pressure that a powerhouse would have on a weakling. It directly penetrated into the depths of Long Fei's heart. His words were extremely cold, not because of the pressure from his aura, but because it was a type of pressure that a powerhouse would have on a weakling. It directly penetrated into the depths of Long Fei's heart. Long Fei's back was drenched in cold sweat. His palms were also wet. No trump cards, no killing moves. The opponent was too strong. It was very likely that he would die in one move. The difference in levels was simply too great. However, no matter what, he could not lose in momentum. Long Fei smiled slightly and said, "It is not certain who will die yet." No matter what, he had to be tough. This was the standard for Long Fei. He was madly thinking about how he could kill these two bosses. "Long Batian, come out here." Long Fei shouted. "Aren't you invincible? Don't you think you can make me invincible? Release your power." Long Fei thought about the dragon scale and the dragon's squamous boundary. The dragon scale was definitely Long Batian's, and only Long Batian would say something like that. He said before that he could control life and death, and could make Long Fei invincible. What about power? Long Quang lowered his head in silence. He couldn't say anything. Long Lin did not respond. Ever since he signed a contract with Long Fei, he had never appeared again. Control life and death? Not at all. Long Fei had never felt it before. F***CK. Long Fei could not help but curse. "I knew you were a hammer. What the F***K use of you? You even control life and death, and the ancient world's most powerful powerhouse. You control your sister." Long Fei was very angry. The god's chopped cooldown was useless. His current cultivation was only at Holy Moon state. He was not his opponent. There was no one in the system that Long Fei could rely on. Against this kind of powerhouse, Long Fei did not even have a single trump card in his hand. "Why? Do you think you're still alive today?" Black Robe Man raised his gaze, his right hand also gently raised. Wong. The sound of a saber could be heard. A blood-red mountain, splitting knife, was in his hands. The blade was 3 meters long and was blood-red in color. At a glance, it looked like a blade that had been drawn from a pool of blood. Blood dripped from the blade. The blade moved, pointing at Long Fei. Long Fei frowned. Wong. A powerful force seemed to have penetrated his head, and even his head was about to explode. His body trembled. His entire body could not support it any longer, and he bent down, his knees trembling. Just this incomparably sharp blade chi was not something Long Fei could withstand. Too strong. This blade killed 37,687 people. You are the 88th. You should feel honored for your own death. It is the glory of your life to die when I fall down. As soon as he finished, the man's eyes narrowed as killing intent burst out from his eyes. He raised his blade with his right hand and slashed down. This saber strike did not have any secret techniques of cultivation. It was also just a casual slash. This was because to him, Long Fei of the Holy Moon state did not even need to treat it seriously. A casual slash could instantly kill. The blade descended. The blade had not even reached Long Fei yet, but a bloody big broadsword had fallen down from above Long Fei's head. Although it was just an illusion, it was as if it was real. Cracks appeared in the sky above the valley. The cracks were as thin as hair. One slash. The demon beast that was still falling in midair instantly split into two upon touching the blade chi. This slash was savage and savage. Icy cold. Dead. Long Fei's pupils constricted. A flash of blade light appeared in his eyes, and he was about to stand on top of. I can't just watch. He had to strike back. Long Fei bellowed with all his might, as he looked at the two groups of people in the sky with a heavy gaze. Power of inscription. Explode all. In that instant, Long Fei's body was covered with dense runes, and the clothes on the upper half of his body burst and flew out, the lines of the muscles on his body extremely distinct. Those runes were like little black tadpoles that covered his entire body. It was none other than the talisman symbol user. It was very ferocious. Black Robe Man's gaze turned cold as he said in a sudden tone, "Cursed person? This inscription, I've never seen it before. It's no wonder why you would continuously break through within such a short period of time. It's such a pity, if not for the fact that I have to deal with Mu Clan, I would really want to take you in as my disciple." "What a pity, what a pity," Black Robe Man said coldly. "Go die in peace." In the distance, the giant golden-furred ape was as violent as a thunderbolt. It madly rushed over and continuously collapsed some mountain peaks under its feet. He could feel that Long Fei was in danger. However, the distance was too far, and he could only worry. Everything now could only be done by Long Fei. With the eruption of the power of inscription, Long Fei clenched his fists tightly, staring at the blade shadows that were rushing down from the sky. He roared with all his might and threw his fists forward. 32 Explosion Fist. The release of 8 burst fist by 4 times. With the support of the power of inscription, the strength, speed, and strength of his body had all been strengthened. His fist was like a torrential downpour as it violently struck out. Bang, bang, bang. Boom, boom, boom. An explosive sound. The saber shadow shook a little when it landed on the saber shadow. It continued to crush it forcefully, but its speed slowed down by a bit. A crack appeared on the blade shadow after the 10 fists were thrown out. The blade shadows looked like they were about to break under the 20 fists. The 30th punch. The blade shadow had already touched Long Fei's hair. He held his breath. The blade shadow in his mind had already moved. The last 2 punches had shattered the saber shadows. The danger was averted. Long Fei's body sank as both of his hands supported himself on the ground. Sweat trickled down his forehead, and his face was covered with sweat. This move used up almost all of his strength. In addition, the symbols were also slowly fading away. He had exceeded the limits of his body. Black Robe Man was stunned. "Since you were able to block my blade, you are truly not bad." Long Fei struggled to stand up and said, "I don't need you to remind me. I know that I'm not bad. But what a pity. You're going to die next time." Finished. The corner of Black Robe Man's mouth lifted. A cold light flashed past his eyes. His legs moved, and his figure charged straight towards Long Fei. It was only a blade chi just now. This time, he attacked from a distance. He even used a blade technique. Knife technique. Long Fei had to use all his strength to block the blade strike just now. After all, this was the Howren realm, which was more than 20 levels higher. If this difference was placed in front of others, let alone resisting, their bodies would probably be chopped into smithereens. Now, the Black Robe Man made his move. He had already landed in front of Long Fei. In Long Fei's world, Black Robe Man was like a giant god, and he chopped down with his blade. Long Fei was incomparably small and said with a heavy heart, "Am I going to die? Am I going to die? No, your father hasn't lived enough. I don't want to die yet. I still want to kill a boss." As he spoke, a subconscious idea entered his pubes, and at the same time activated the power of the divine moon. It immediately drew upon the power of the plane of light. Long Fei shouted hysterically, "Explode for me." At a time like this, Long Fei couldn't care so much. At a time like this, Long Fei couldn't care so much. Even if he could not control this power right now, it was his only chance to turn the tables. Mystic Moon's pull moved that light plane. In that instant, a ball of fire-like power surged out of the pubes. One day, January, the scene in the pubes was as if the moon and sun had appeared from his body and erupted at the same time. Strength, strength, uncontrollable power. Up, Long Fei roared. "Even if I have to die, I will kill you." The explosive power of the pubes directly spread throughout his entire body. Long Fei clenched his fist tightly, and it was not strength that he was gripping, but rather the fact that there were 2 planes on his fist. A punch was fired out. The fist shook Black Robe Man. Black Robe Man smiled. "You overestimate yourself." The saber slashed down. Without waiting for his mountain-splitting knee fest to fall, Long Fei's power had arrived first. Black Robe Man's pupils suddenly shrank. His mind trembled. At this moment, what he thought of was not to attack, but to escape. However, too slow, too late. The power on Long Fei's fist exploded outwards like a ball of flame. It was not an ordinary flame, but a type of plains flame. Even if it was the heavenly flame that he had previously trained in, it would still be less than 1%. The moment the flames appeared, rumble, rumble, rumble. The rumbling sound were like the exploding of a flood of ferocious beasts, spreading out in all directions. Space itself shattered. A plane of light appeared in the shattered space. In that instant, no one saw it, not even Long Fei. He did not notice the glowing plane that appeared in the sky. A black robe man let out a painful explosion. He couldn't move, so when the flame touched his body, he turned into powder. He was trembling, and his heart was full of fear. And yet, he couldn't move a muscle. Don't kill me, don't kill, don't kill. His entire body turned into powder, and the powder eventually disappeared as well. Not far away, the skeleton Gui Shou let out a low wail. It watched as its master turned into dust in an instant, and watched as space itself shattered into nothingness. It retreated and trembled, no longer emitting any sense of savageness. You want to leave? Long Fei's eyes widened. His pupils were for the left side being the moon and the right the sun. An unprecedented force and aura radiated from his body as he took a step forward and said with a deep voice, "Die." He gave the order. The flames on his fist suddenly erupted and pounced towards the skeleton Gui Shou. Oh! With a blood-curdling scream, the final part of the gigantic skeleton, Gui Shou, turned into powder. This power! Ha ha! Long Fei looked at his two fists, and two imprints also appeared on his fists. One of his hands became the moon, the other became the sun. The sun and the moon appear at the same time. Then this move is called the sun and the moon are the same. Just as he finished speaking, the energy disappeared. At the same time, Long Fei's body sank. A mouthful of blood sprayed out. Furthermore, the force that Long Fei had released was immediately retracted and counterattacked. It was just that he was not as strong as before, but he was completely focused on attacking Long Fei, so he only had a little bit of health point left. Forget about the backlash. Even a first-stage demon beast would want his life. Master this power. Long Fei frowned. He had already gained control of the power, so he was unable to control it completely, and the mark on his hand had also disappeared. Long Fei kept retreating. It's over, it's all over. I can't dodge anymore. Damn, could it be that I'll be killed by my own power? Long Fei's back was already pressed against the wall. There was no way out. The speed of the backlash was getting faster and faster. It only took a few seconds from the moment it was unleashed. F***CK. Long Fei roared fiercely, his fists clenching tightly. When the flames touched his body turned into powder, just like the black robe man. What should we do? Do you want to use your second life? Last time, when Long Fei obtained the life +1 from his berserk energy, it meant that he had 2 lives. Use it or not. This old man's only option. Long Fei was very unwilling in his heart. Life was everything, and he didn't want to waste it right now. As long as I'm not completely dead, I won't use it. Long Fei was unwilling to part with it. Very reluctant. He could take anything, but he had to take his life. Half of his body had already been turned into fine powder, and cold sweat continuously broke out on Long Fei's forehead. Long Fei's idea had already activated the system, staring at the special ability Life +1. Just as Long Fei wanted to use his special life, the system sounded out. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Undead Ghost, for obtaining 1 million experience, 100,000 holy source points, and 1 striking value point. Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up, currently at the 6th stage of the Divine Moon Realm. Ding! System prompt. Do you wish to use Berserk energy? Ha! Long Fei heaved a sigh of relief. I have leveled up. The instant I level up, I would gain an extra life, and all pain would be relieved. He really came at the right time. If it was any later, Long Fei would probably have to use Life +1. the moment of upgrade. His body was quickly restored. At the same time, Long Fei ordered, "Release the berserk energy." He had killed quite a number of demon beasts, and his striking energy value had already reached 100 points. He had been thinking of when he should use it on a boss. Now there was a chance. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Undead Ghost for obtaining the special item Heavenly Symbol. Heavenly Symbol? Talisman. Long Fei was not satisfied with his berserk mode. What was the use of a talisman? It would be better to have a few more lives. He opened the system and checked. Talisman, Sky Grade, Pack's Attribute, Defense Description, 1 talisman for each heaven, imbuing the gods with talismans. The sky is a cage that can trap all powerhouse. I'm fine looking at the attributes, they're not too bad. Long Fei muttered, but he was still a little dissatisfied. After all, this was the release of a berserk energy. However, he did not understand how powerful this talisman was. After collecting the space ring, the system sounded out a notification sound. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Yue Shou for obtaining 500,000 experience, holy source value of 50,000 points, and striking value of 1 point. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Netherworld Ghost Flame. 2 notifications sounded, and then God's Pavilion's voice sounded. Brat, I've absorbed these 2 souls earlier. Do you want me to nurture them for you? The God's Pavilion had not made a sound for a long time. The God's Pavilion had not made a sound for a long time. He hadn't spoken a word since the king of Hen tribe. Long Fei had thought that he already wasn't willing to help him raise his divine soul at that time. God's Pavilion spoke again. Long Fei immediately said, "You finally spoke, and here I thought you had disappeared. F***, you just disappeared. I won't disappear even if your bones rot." God's Pavilion said fiercely, "In this period of time, you haven't met anyone decent. If you don't have a decent soul to absorb my words, then could it be that I'm trying to find out more about you? Would you like to find out which chick is beautiful?" "I don't have the time." Long Fei said, "Ha! Since you have already absorbed their souls, then you can continue to grow them. Since you are a God's Pavilion, I will wait for that day to come when you help me cultivate 10,000 super divine powerhouse." His promise to Phoenix. He was bringing along 10,000 divine level powerhouse to propose marriage. That was all the God's Pavilion could do for him. God's Pavilion said, "Brat, you have yet to accomplish what you promised me." Long Fei said, 10 strands of my pubes is energy, all right? All right, you can use it, but only if you hurry up and help me nurture the myriad god powerhouse out. God's Pavilion, who had received permission from Long Fei, laughed and said, "Don't worry about this. My God's Pavilion is not empty talk. Only I can cultivate out of the souls that I fancy, rebuild your body, and only listen to your orders. To provide me with the endless power of a pubes, forget about a myriad gods. Even if it's an ancient almighty being, I can cultivate it." This was definitely not bragging. In the past, the only power he absorbed was Holy Source. The Holy Source was the only cultivation strength in the ancient world. So he needed a huge amount of Holy Source energy to nurture his soul into a corporeal body. Ordinary powerhouse simply could not support the consumption of God's Pavilion at all. Moreover, the cultivation of Holy Source was too slow. If he had used the Holy Source to nurture the king of Hen tribe's legends, even if it was 10,000 years old, it would still be ineffective. The soul would also need to absorb the Holy Source, and the God's Pavilion would also need to be exhausted. It was like a bottomless pit. However, his pubes contained a huge amount of energy. King of Hen tribe, this kind of overbearing and arrogant powerhouse was able to nurture him. Divine Space's powerhouse was simply too simple. Sure, with these words of yours, it's fine. If you want more power, it's up to you. However, there's a plane within my pubes that is shining like the sun that you cannot touch. Long Fei still wanted to properly cultivate the power of that plane, because he was too strong. The sun and moon shine together, corresponding to each other. As soon as he gathered his strength, the world changed. Powerhouse of the Howren realm would die if they touched it, while Ghost Immortal Stage's mount would instantly perish if they touched it. He finally understood why the Undead Lord wanted his pubes. This pubes is too powerful. Could it be that Long Batian is here for my pubes as well? Long Fei's heart trembled. I'm not a pushover. Once I completely unleash the power of my pubes, not to mention Long Batian, even Sky Tyrant Dragon would be useless. He didn't care. If he was an enemy, then he must trample him to death. In Long Fei's heart, Long Batian harbored evil intentions. There would definitely be a fight in the future. But that was in the future. He didn't have time to think about it carefully now. He was still thinking about how to use the power of the pubes S. Just now, he had released it, but he couldn't control it all. In fact, he couldn't do anything about the backlash of that power at all. He couldn't control it. But one thing was certain, the vast starlight of his pubes. Each planet was a plane, and each plane had the power of a plane. The power he had released just now was the power of a plane. I need to master the control of my strength as soon as possible. Long Fei secretly locked the space between his brows. Undead Lord is coming soon. Grandfather is in closed-door training with serious injuries. Mu Clan is in a precarious situation, moreover. Thinking that the Black Robe man he killed just now was called Undead Ghost, Long Fei had the guts to directly send this guy over. If the people from Undead Lord had already arrived at God Living Mountain, then the Undead Lord wouldn't be far away. What's the situation in Mu Clan? Long Fei did not understand. Regardless of the situation in Mu Clan, this was grandfather's family. He had to do his best to protect them, not to mention that Undead Lord was after him. What was that wailing sound just now? Six is dead. Impossible. Old Six cultivation is at the Howren realm. Unless it's an ancient almighty powerhouse, it won't be that easy to kill him. Then the voice just now was. Let me check. One of the Black Robe man moved his eyebrows, and the idea on his body shot out like lightning. A few seconds later, his expression changed, and he said solemnly, Old Six aura has already disappeared. It should be dead. The five of them were stunned. Their expressions all changed inwardly. Dead, dead, dead? How could that be? Who killed him? That brat from God's state? This is impossible. How preposterous. See how I kill him. The six of them were the direct disciples of the Undead Lord. They cultivated together and went out on a mission together, but they had never met an opponent they could fight before. Who would have thought that one would actually die after entering the God Living Mountain this time? Immediately. The fourth brother frowned and shouted, I want to flatten this God Living Mountain. Anyone who comes will die. While they were talking, his legs buckled. Gue Shou, who was below him, moved. The two balls of green flames jumped and quickly rushed towards the valley Long Fei was in. The other four followed suit. Their hearts were boiling with rage. At the same time, Mu Clan, North District. Did you hear anything? A wailing sound like this must be at least at the Howren realm. Why would a person at the Howren realm be at the center of God Living Mountain? Is it an elder of the Mu Clan? At this moment, a disciple came over hurriedly and said, Elder, 7 strongmen of North Region has entered the God Living Mountain to carry out a mission and has yet to return. What? How could those 7 brats be in the center of God Living Mountain? Does the Patriarch know? Mu Yuding frowned. 7 strongmen of North Region were all geniuses amongst geniuses, and each one of them had long since broken through to the Divine Moon Realm or the Limitless Realm. More importantly, the 7 of them were the disciples of the old Patriarch Mu Tianhe, but now immediately informed the Patriarch. Understood. Elder, there's one more thing. I found out that this beast wave seems to be coming from the direction of the Mu Clan. It's just that for some reason, the direction of the beast tide has changed. Mu Yuding clenched both his fists, feeling that this matter was different as well, and said, I will personally go to the Patriarch's side. Boom, 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 boom. 5 masses of powerful auras rushed towards the valley from afar. After all, Dragon Quang had also swiftly sensed the 5 balls of powerful aura and warned Long Fei. Another 5 balls of powerful aura are approaching. After all, Dragon Kwang had also swiftly sensed the 5 balls of powerful aura and warned Long Fei. Another 5 balls of powerful aura are approaching. His cultivation is not weaker than the Black Robe Man just now. It's getting closer and closer. Long Fei was shocked. You're here again? Ru, is this to give me experience? Long Fei's mouth hooked up as he laughed inwardly, thinking that he still could not control the power within the pubes. His brows knitted once more. My power is not easy to control, and if it was even the slightest bit weaker, I would have been killed. However, I do not wish to lose my life here. However, it's not my Long Fei style to not even eat meat that goes to my mouth. Another 5 bosses, how could he not kill them? 1 million experience was enough for Long Fei to level up half a level. With 5 people, he would be able to reach the 7th or even 8th level of the Divine Moon Realm. Moreover, Long Fei felt more and more that these people were sent by the Undead Lord. He wanted to use the Beast Tide to attack the Mu clan first. If that was the case, then he should kill them all the more. The number of beasts was still increasing, and among these demon beasts, there were no lack of supermonster. Even if Mu clan could resist, he would still suffer huge losses. Thinking about that, Long Fei secretly clenched both his fists. The idea moved, locking onto the heaven symbol that just came out of the system, and said with a deep voice, "It all depends on your power." Long Fei did not leave. Long Kwang was worried. Boom, boom, boom. A total of 5 sounds in a row fell heavily, directly filling the entire valley. 5 heads of Gui Shou, eyes blazing with green fire, 10 lumps of green fire staring straight at Long Fei. That gaze made it seem as if he wanted to drag Long Fei into hell. The 5 people on Gui Shou's back were dressed in the same clothes. All of them wore black robes and a skull mask, and the auras they emitted were as sinister as evil spirits crawling out of hell. The 5 of them were also staring at Long Fei. Long Fei also looked at them. SSS. Gudong. His Adam's apple was rolling down his throat, and he couldn't help but swallow a mouthful of saliva, because that golden light was simply too alluring. Boss, another 5 bosses, gulp. Long Fei was extremely excited, but at the same time, he felt a strong pressure. Did you kill Old Sixth? The leading man's voice was low, his sinister and murderous eyes staring straight at Long Fei. Where is Sixth Brother's corpse? Why is there not even a corpse? Not even the body of Sixth Brother's mount? Kid, what did you do just now? The 5 of them did not believe that Long Fei could kill the 6th brother, but the 6th brother's aura had disappeared, and he was definitely dead. Another person stared at Long Fei and said with a trace of astonishment in his eyes, "5th level of the Divine Moon Realm. Half an hour ago, you were only a god state." This speed, the 5 of them were shocked. Different talents meant different cultivation speeds, but breaking through 7 or 8 times in half an hour was completely unrelated to one's talent. It was just like a freak, and a super freak at that. Impossible. Even Xian Tianzi doesn't have that kind of speed. He can compare to Xian Tianzi. When Xuanzi was his age, he was already at the supreme elder realm of the primordial era. Who was Xian Tianzi? An up-and-coming talent from the divine space. Other than those old bastards from the ancient era, Xian Tianzi was a unique existence, and also the #1 genius of the divine space. He had been born in the divine moon realm, and had been cultivating since he was born in his mother's womb. When he reached the age of 10, he would become a clear peak realm. At the age of 15, he would become a supreme elder in the ancient era. From the birth of the ancient world until now, no one had achieved such speed, and no one could surpass it. He is a member of the Xians. Some said he was the son of the Emperor Xian and his son, while others said he was a child that the outer space powerhouse had placed in the Xian nationality. In short, he had a lot of legends, an existence similar to Hao Yue. Until now, there still hadn't been a day that could compare to him. No matter how fast it is, it's just a holy moon state, useless. Besides, he's going to die soon. That's right, he's going to die soon. At this time, Long Fei calmed himself down, took a step forward, and said with a faint smile, "There is also someone who spoke with you just now." The five of them stared at Long Fei and asked, "Where is that man now?" Long Fei replied, "Dead." He said those two words lightly, but they displayed an extremely arrogant and domineering aura. The five of them were infuriated. "You dog! I will take your dog life." Long Fei laughed. "My life is right here. If you have the guts, then come up and take it. But there is something I do not understand." The leader said, "Speak." He wanted to know what Long Fei didn't understand. At the same time, his strength had already entered the ground. He was the boss of the six. The reason why he was the boss was not because he was the oldest, but because he was extremely careful in everything he did. He would even be extremely cautious when pinching a mosquito to death. If OL6 died here, it meant that this unremarkable brat in front of him must have some tricks up his sleeve. There must be a special power that they haven't discovered yet. The power surged into the ground, like a spirit serpent entering the soil. It slowly approached Long Fei, and with a slight movement under his feet, the power spread outwards like a net. Long Fei asked, "Why are you controlling the beast tide?" Kid, you have good eyes. You actually know that we are controlling this beast tide." One of them sneered. "That's right, we are the ones controlling the god living mountain's demon beast." As expected, Long Fei secretly thought and asked, "Who do you want to deal with by controlling the demon beast?" The person laughed coldly and said, "Since you are about to die anyway, there is no harm in telling you. These demon beasts are obviously prepared for Mu Clan. Looking at your clothes, you should be a disciple of the Mu Clan, right? Then you should be the first Mu Clan to die." Long Fei smiled slightly. He did not react and asked, "I would like to know why you want to deal with Mu Clan? Mu Clan didn't offend you, right?" "Why?" Leader said. "The reason is very simple. Because Mu Tianhe provoked our master, Mu Clan must pay the price." "Your master?" Long Fei looked at him. Leader said, "You don't need to know who our master is." Just as he finished speaking, Long Fei said, "Your master should be Undead Lord, right?" The five of them were shocked. No one knew about the existence of their immortal valley, not even Mu Tianhe. How could an ordinary disciple like him know about it? "Kid, who exactly are you?" Long Fei smirked and said, "Who I am isn't important. What's important is that you all are about to die. Don't worry, your master will be with you very soon." Leader was furious and shouted, "You're about to die and you're still acting so arrogantly. I'm going to take your dog life." A surge of power exploded outwards. At the same time, roar, the giant golden ape fell from the sky. Rumble, rumble, with a loud bang, the giant golden ape fell from the sky. It directly blocked in front of Long Fei. With a huge body and eyes filled with fury, the hair on his body stood on end, as if they were steel needles that had exploded. The aura around his body was so thick that it could make one's hair stand on end. Huff! Inhale! Huff! His breath sounded like muffled thunder. Immediately, the five Gue show heads' arrogant aura immediately disappeared, and their bodies became half shorter as they started trembling. A fairy beast in the tribulation realm, possessing the undefeatable physical body. The golden hair on top of his head was exceptionally dazzling. "Whoever dares to touch a single hair of my master, I will directly crush his head." The golden-furred giant ape immediately spoke in human language. The eyes of the five sank. Although the giant golden ape shocked them somewhat, but there was no fear in their eyes. It was very calm. Leader laughed. "Fairy beast, kid, is this what you're relying on?" Long Fei walked out and smiled. "You can take a look at my war pet." Leader's mouth curved up, revealing a sinister laugh. His eyes swept left and right while fighting. And then, in that instant, the five of them moved at the same time. At the same time, he activated the flaming mountain splitting knife. Leader said lightly, "Explode." Long Fei's feet suddenly moved. With him at the center, thin lines suddenly appeared on the ground within a radius of 10 meters. This thin line was a type of special power. The thin thread formed a net and was about to wrap Long Fei up. Moreover, these special net of energy had a powerful hell's might that burned with thin flames. causing space to crack on these thin flames. If it was wrapped in a thin net, it would be cut into countless pieces in an instant. Roar! At the same time the five moved, the giant golden ape also moved. He turned around and used one hand to sweep out and immediately grabbed the dark silk net that was encircling Long Fei. The web cut a bloody wound on his thick palm, and the giant golden ape couldn't help but let out a furious roar. Undefeatable body did not mean that it could not be harmed. It was just that before a certain level or power level, his body would not be harmed in the slightest. Clearly, the power of the dark net had exceeded the defense of the giant golden ape. However, the giant golden-furred ape did not cower. If one hand was insufficient, then it would have to use both hands. His hands moved at the same time, and he made a tearing motion. Shwa! The dark net was torn apart immediately. The power was astonishing. However, while he was protecting Long Fei, the five people were already standing in the air above him. Boom! 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 The gigantic blade, chi, formed tornadoes, the blades cutting through tens of thousands of them. The five of them were all powerhouse of the Howren realm. The five blades fell from the sky at the same time, causing the sky to lose its color. The valley felt extremely stifling, as if it had turned into hell all of a sudden. The five of them were extremely fast as well. Without waiting for the giant golden ape to turn around, the blades of the five people had already cut his back. Awoo! Woo-woo! The golden-furred giant ape let out a painful cry as five deep wounds appeared on its back. Fresh blood gushed out like a fountain. His right arm swept out. The bodies of the five of them shot forward and landed on Gui Shou's back once more. The five of them were shocked. Even Almighty Realm Powerhouse might not be able to withstand the combined strength of five people. It had to be known that although these five cuts looked ordinary, the power contained in each of them was incomparably strong. Let alone Demon Beast S. Even normal Fairy Beast S would be able to block them. One-hit kill. However, the golden-furred ape was actually able to withstand it. Moreover, they had only caused some flesh wounds and did not injure the inside of the golden hair. This defense was definitely not ordinary. However, Leader was not worried. This was because this wasn't their strongest attack yet. The man in the lead sneered and said, "Brat, you are truly powerful with your fairy beast as a war beast, but you are still. Today, you will still have to die." He was very confident. No matter how powerful the giant golden ape was, it wouldn't be a match for them. Other than the giant golden fur ape, there was an existence that Long Fei, who was only at Holy Moon State, could not threaten them at all. And then, Leader said, "Let's kill this fairy beast first. As for that brat, don't worry about it. Kill that brat after taking care of this fairy beast." From the start, he had never placed Long Fei in his eyes. In front of the Howren realm, the cultivation of the Holy Moon State was really too insignificant. The five of them nodded, and then the five figures moved again and disappeared from Gui Shou's back. The five of them were too fast for Long Fei to see. But he was not happy right now. Being looked down upon was not a good feeling. His war beast had been beaten to a bloody state. He was not in a good mood. Since he was in a bad mood, he had to think of a way to improve himself. What could he do to make himself feel good? A boss dropped. Only then would Long Fei feel good. However, not to mention the boss, even if the boss stood in front of him and he killed it, it would still be hard to defend against it. The Howren stage was too strong. His divine moon power could not break through the defense, but he had the giant golden ape. If he was given a chance, the powerhouse of the Howren realm would also be torn apart by him. Opportunity. What Long Fei wanted to do was to give the golden-furred giant ape a chance. The idea moved, tightly holding onto the system's newly released heaven symbol. Long Fei said solemnly, "Goldfur, listen to my command." The giant golden ape growled, "Boss, speak." He never thought that Long Fei was weak. In his consciousness, the person who could make the dragon's squamous boundary recognize him as master was definitely the most powerful person in the world. Even if Long Fei's cultivation was not good, in his heart, Long Fei was strong. Long Fei's words were also in order. The golden-furred giant ape did not move in a hurry, but waited for Long Fei's order instead. Bastard, go to hell. The mountain-splitting knife in the hands of the five of them flashed with rays of skeletal shadows. Ghost soul extinguishing slash. The five of them shouted at the same time. The area within several miles of the giant ape was completely dark. The howling sounds were like thousands upon thousands of ghosts rushing out of hell to attack the giant golden ape. The blade technique was extremely vicious, and it was several times stronger than the one just now. Thousands of ghosts howled. Rumble. Just as the power was about to fall, Long Fei ordered, "Heavenly runes, release." As soon as he finished, Long Fei's 2 fingers moved. With blood as a guide, he swiftly waved, outlined, and drew. In a short moment, he completed all of them in one go. A huge sky character appeared in the sky. The area around the sky was densely packed with all sorts of runes, and it directly covered the entire sky. "Subdue!" Long Fei shouted. The power of the heavenly symbols was released, and the first heavenly layer was suppressed. Bang, bang, bang. 5 sounds in a row. 5 people fell from the sky, each one heavily crashing to the ground, unable to stand up. His face was filled with incomparable pain. The power they had released was also gone in an instant. The corner of Long Fei's mouth raised, and he laughed. "Goldfur, take care of them." With the appearance of the heavenly symbol, the first heavens were crushed. With the appearance of the heavenly symbol, the first heavens were crushed. The 5 undead ghostess were instantly crushed, and in their world of consciousness, it was as if a sky had collapsed, heavily smashing into their sea of consciousness. They couldn't take it at all. They all fell to the ground, spewing out a mouthful of blood. Their faces were pale as they struggled on the ground. The power of the heavenly talisman was too great. They could not stand at all. Long Fei saw that each and every one of them could not stand up straight, and his heart was boiling. Damn, was the Howren realm crushed just like that? The power of the heavenly talisman is truly formidable. The realm of Howren, the most powerful realm of any major power below the primordial era. Why was cultivation so fierce? However, they had no way to resist. How strong was the heavenly talisman? Long Fei had underestimated the power of the heaven runes. Looking at the current situation, even if it was unleashed on the ancient almighty powerhouse S, they could still crush him. However, Long Fei did not regret it. These 5 people were all bosses. 1 heaven character for 5 bosses, no loss. Goldfur, hammer them to death. Long Fei shouted. The golden-furred giant ape clenched its fists. Bang, bang, bang. The space around the fist exploded. The giant golden-furred ape did not stop. It raised its strength to the highest point as it raised its fists in the air and smashed towards one of the black robe man's like a heavy hammer. The man's pupils constricted as he stared intently at Long Fei and said, "Brat, do you know who I am?" Not waiting for him to finish, the giant golden ape's fist descended. Rumble. The ground sank and caved in. The surroundings were filled with cracks, and the black robe man's body was instantly turned into a pile of meat paste. The long gash on the top of his head also instantly turned into a 0. Beautiful. Long Fei became excited, seeing that his body had become a web of flesh without being able to find a single piece of meat. Long Fei laughed. "At the beginning I didn't know who you were, but now I know you're a dead man." Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing 4th Elder of Undead Ghost for obtaining 1100,000 experience, 120,000 Holy Source points, and 1 striking value point. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining the Bloodfire Blade. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Ghost Soul Extinguisher Saber Technique. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Blade Soul. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining. The system beep continued to sound. The boss is the boss, and the drop rate is different, but it's a pity. Long Fei looked at his striking value. Although the demon beast on the mountain peak was still constantly falling, and he could still obtain experience and striking value. He had just used up all his striking value and had not gathered enough energy. If he had 100 points, he would not be able to use berserk energy. Otherwise, he would be able to produce something special. Long Fei finally understood. Berserk energy is too important. As long as one used berserk energy, then the items that would be dropped would definitely be special items. This kind of special item did not exist in the divine space. It could be considered a type of system reward. However, Long Fei was not in a hurry right now either, because his striking energy value would soon reach 100 points. Kid, since you know about Undead Lord, then you should know about his methods and background. Undead Lord is our master. If you kill us, our master will definitely kill all of your Mu clan. A man growled. Undead Lord, one of the 3 great sky sovereigns of Xian's. Moreover, it was the old undying powerhouse who had survived through the ancient era. No one dared to offend him. However, Long Fei grinned and said, "Wow, I'm so scared." The Undead Lord, one of the 3 great sky sovereigns of Xian's, the 3 great henchmen of the Emperor Xian, an old man who survived through the ancient times. I'm scared, but what am I going to do? I already killed 2. Do you want me to stop? Long Fei said leisurely. Leader's pupils tightened. Brat, who the hell are you? How do you know so much? Long Fei replied, who I am is not important. The most important thing is gold fur. Keep hammering. The golden-furred giant ape nodded its head in an honest manner. It stretched out both its arms and smashed them down once again, smashing into the body of a black-robed man. Bam. Rumble. It was another huge pit. The black-robed man was turned into meat paste, and blood splattered everywhere. The remaining 3 watched as their brother was killed just like that. Their eyes were filled with bloodlust, but even if they did their best, it was just that they could not stand up. The power of the heavenly talisman that was pressing down on their minds was too strong. How could the first sky of Earth be able to move when it was on their bodies? The heavenly symbols were too tyrannical. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing OL5 of Undead Ghost for obtaining 100,000 experience points, 100,000 holy source points, and 1 striking value point. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining the Bloodfire Blade. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Ghost Spirit Pills. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up. Currently at the 7th level of the Divine Moon Realm. Another one died, and another one dropped. 3 left. He felt extremely good. OL5. Ah! He howled. You dog, this old man will kill you. Long Fei laughed. Kill me? I don't think you have a chance. Hammer. As soon as he finished. Rumble. The giant, golden-furred ape punched down once again, instantly killing another black-robed man, its body turning into a mess. He couldn't finish the last part of his sentence. The system beep sounded again. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei. Continue to explode. Continuing to feel good. Long Fei said, Continue, hammer. Golden Fur moved his hands, raising them into the air again, aiming straight at one of the black-robed men. The leader said anxiously, Master, please spare our lives as long as you are willing to spare our lives. We can do whatever you want. Please. Nothing was more important than their lives. They had lived for thousands of years, so they knew very well what death meant. Every once in a while, their master would have to find a new body to reincarnate into. If he died, everything would be gone. However, Long Fei slightly smiled and said, You guys are of no use to me. That's not right. You shouldn't say that. I should correct myself. Your lives are useless to me. Hammer. The golden-furred man punched down again, creating a deep crater in the ground. Another person was killed in an instant. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing. Another series of notifications. Very good. There was only one person left now, and he was the leader of the 6. He was trembling. His mind was trembling, his body was trembling, and he was incomparably terrified. He wanted to live on, so he said, My lord, please listen to me. Undead Lord is about to launch an attack on Mu Clan. Mu Clan will definitely be destroyed. my life will be of great use to you. I know of Sky Sovereign's plan. He has a way to prevent your Mu clan's spatial masters from activating spatial teleportation. He can't let any of you escape, so I can be your spy. In order to survive, he could use any means at his disposal. In order to survive, he could use any means at his disposal. He just wanted to live. Even if the Undead Lord was his master, he could still sell it. What kind of person was the Undead Lord? Long Fei had already seen it before. An ancient powerhouse was like 100,000 mountains, unshakable. At least, it was impossible for Long Fei to kill him now, and she couldn't find the slightest chance. For such a strong person, it would take him a lot of effort to deal with Mu Clan. Last time they fought with Grandfather Mu Tianhe, the terrifying power of the Sky Fire Blood Crow had caused Mu Tianhe to be seriously injured. If not for Mu Tianhe's act of arrogance, which scared the Undead Lord, they would have all died at that time. Last time, Undead Lord would definitely not make this mistake again if he was not prepared for it. He must have come prepared. But what had he prepared? The leader had said that the Undead Lord was prepared to deal with the Mu Clan's spatial transfer power. What exactly was it? Long Fei wanted to know. How strong was the Mu Clan? How deep was his foundation? Long Fei was not sure, but he was sure that they would not be able to compare to Undead Lord. Furthermore, the most crucial point was that Grandfather Mu Tianhe had heavily injured himself and went into seclusion, so it was impossible for him to come out for a short period of time. Combining all these, he was definitely not a match for Undead Lord. However, if a spy was planted by Undead Lord's side and he knew everything, the situation would definitely be different. At least he could study the countermeasures in advance. Long Fei's gaze tensed up. Leader saw hope and said, "Sir, I swear on my blood that I will never betray you. And once I grasp the power of the Undead Lord to deal with Mu Clan, I will definitely inform you immediately. With my help, I will definitely help you escape this calamity." He was reminding Long Fei of his importance. He could also see hope in Long Fei's eyes. But suddenly, a voice came from the God's Pavilion and said, "Kid, I have received these 4 souls as well. If you want to kill them, then hurry up. Don't waste time." "Right, I have something else to tell you. The first soul has been reconstructed. It will take a little more time before it can be released." When Long Fei killed the undead ghostess, he did not idle around. When Long Fei killed one, he absorbed 1 soul. The 4 souls that had just died had all been absorbed by him. The cultivation of the Howren stage was still quite useful. "What did you just say?" Long Fei shook and said, "You have already reforged your flesh?" Long Fei thought he heard wrong. How long had it been? Half an hour? 10 minutes? 5 minutes? This speed? Aren't they being too King too fast? God's Pavilion was incomparably arrogant as he said, "You did not hear wrongly. That soul has already been forged by me into a corporeal body." "Oh, awesome." Long Fei was shocked. God's Pavilion laughed. "That's right, why don't you see who I am?" Actually, the strong one was not God's Pavilion, but the chi he had absorbed from Long Fei's pubes. It was because this kind of power was too overbearing so much so that just one power could create a body, and the time required was too fast. Furthermore, the cultivation levels of these undead ghostess were not considered high. Then it would be even faster. However, this speed was simply too astonishing. Let alone Long Fei. Even the God's Pavilion himself was shocked. Isn't the power within this kid's pubes a little too strong? If I absorb all of these powers, what kind of monster would I be able to nurture? I can't imagine. His flesh had been forged, and in a few days he would be able to use it. At that time, was he still afraid of not having any spies? Long Fei's mouth curved up as he stared at Leader, laughing sinisterly. "Oh, it's a boss. How can I not kill him? If I don't kill him, then I will be able to face the heavens, the earth, myself, and the system, right?" Long Fei thought about the 100 reasons why he could not find a single reason not to kill the boss. Seeing Long Fei's sinister smile, Leader also forced a smile and said, "Master, I will definitely do things properly for you." Long Fei replied, Amen. This, I can guarantee that you will definitely work properly for me in the future. Hearing Long Fei's words, leaders secretly heaved a sigh of relief. As long as they were alive and left this place, then he would definitely lead the Undying Legion and trample Mu clan to the ground. He would make the entire God-living mountain bleed like a river. As for Long Fei, he wanted to kill him 10,000 times. However, just as he was thinking about this, Long Fei suddenly spoke out. However, these things should be done after you die. After death. My lord, how can I help you? Leader's face immediately turned pale white. Long Fei waved his finger at the golden hair, saying hammer. The giant golden ape revealed its pure white teeth as it excitedly laughed. Prepare to die. Both of his fists exploded towards Leader. The leader continuously yelled, begged for mercy, and continuously stated his own value and usage. However, Long Fei gave a wretched smile and completely ignored him. It was just that, just as the golden hare's fist was about to fall, Long Fei suddenly shouted, "Wait a moment!" The golden hare immediately stopped. His strength was completely retracted and released. Leader was so scared that he directly peed his pants. His crotch was completely drenched. He anxiously said, "Master, please be at ease. I will definitely not betray you. I definitely will not." Long Fei did not pay any attention to him, but rather closed his eyes and opened the system, watching his striking energy value increase bit by bit. In the distance, the demon beast was still falling down the valley and dying. 93, 94. Long Fei muttered the numbers in his mouth. Leader didn't know what Long Fei was doing at all. Boom! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing 4th-ranked demon beast for obtaining 3,600 experience, 2,000 holy source points, and 1 striking energy value point. Holy **T. The higher your level, the less experience you'll have. Long Fei complained, but when he saw that his striking energy value had reached 100 points, he was speechless. Long Fei opened his eyes and looked at the golden-furred giant ape, saying, "Time's up. Hammer him to death." This time, the leader was scared to the point of spitting out feces and continuously shouted, "Master, don't kill me, don't kill me. Lord, you won't have a good ending even if you kill me. My master will definitely make Mu clan bleed like a river." "No, don't. No way. Rumble." Explosions continuously sounded in the sky as the huge fist descended like a mountain. Long Fei let out a contemptuous cry, sigh. No matter how high your cultivation, you will still fear death no matter how long you live. This was reality. Boom! Both fists smashed down, causing Leader to let out a final wail as his body was torn apart and turned into minced meat. The long bloody wound on his head also turned into a 0 in the blink of an eye. Seconds passed. The system beeped. Ding! 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 Hearing this beautiful notification, Long Fei instantly became excited. Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing boss Undead Ghost for obtaining 150,000 experience, 150,000 holy source points, and 1 striking value. Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up, currently at the 8th level of the Divine Moon Realm. Ding! System prompt. Do you wish to release Berserk energy? Yes, sir. It has to be. Long Fei did not hesitate at all. How could this kind of boss not release Berserk energy? We'll talk about it later. 100 points would be the maximum amount. It wouldn't be added up now. He could use it if he wanted to, especially since it was on a boss. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing boss Undead Ghost and obtaining God Curse. Do you wish to cultivate it? What rice thing? Long Fei was startled. He looked at the system. Berserk energy was an extraordinary type of energy. Once it was released, the items it released would be unique and would definitely not be ordinary. Combined with the previous Berserk attacks, Long Fei was sure that each Berserk attack was a special reward from the system. The first time it had been a God's Chop that had stepped 10 levels above it. Anything within its range could be killed in an instant. The second life +1 was equivalent to an extra life. The third time, the 5 righteous noble realm powerhouse were scared out of their wits by the crushing pressure. Every single time was very powerful. But this time, Long Fei was a little confused. God curse. What the hell? Long Fei mumbled. He was a little depressed in his heart. He thought it was another super thing. He felt a little unhappy. Immediately, he opened the system to check the properties of the God curse. Technique: God curse. Consumption: 100,000 holy source points cooldown, 1 hour grade. Attribute: none description. Fix your target, release your power, and your target will be fixed. Depending on the player's level, the target will be fixed for a period of time. Description 2. Ignore levels. God curse? Is this the ability to house any powerhouse? Ignore levels? Holy sh**t. Such a monster. If one did not look, one would not know. However, if one did not look, one would know that one would be scared witless when seeing Long Fei's attributes. Although the fixed time was determined by Long Fei's level, to powerhouse, there were many things that could be done within a second. Fixing his target was not enough strength for Long Fei, but he had the abnormal war pet like golden hair. How could he be afraid of not being able to kill the people? Cultivate. Long Fei shouted excitedly. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for successfully cultivating God Curse. The Berserk energy every time had a little surprise. Is this striking system really the original system? Damn, isn't this a bit too fierce? Long Fei started to like this Berserk feeling. The feeling the system gave Long Fei was like a bright flower blooming in the dark. Boss! Suddenly, Mu Yun's shout came from afar. Long Fei thought for a while, then silently cursed. This is bad. Ever since he killed the 5 of them, the control of the idea disappeared, and the demon beast returned to normal. They did not rush down like they did just now, as not a single demon beast had fallen from the peak of the mountain. Since the demon beast did not rush down again, they would definitely flee in all directions. If this happened, they would definitely meet Mu Yun and the others. Mu Yun did have the ability to protect himself, but those 7 people. Long Fei's gaze tensed up, and he asked the golden-furred man, "Is your injury all right?" The giant golden ape said, "Small wound, it's fine." Long Fei said, "Have you found all the spirit grass that I wanted you to find?" The giant golden ape nodded and said, "I found it." Long Fei said, "All right, let's return. Hurry up. It is not a good thing for the demon beast to escape." The demon beast experience, fleeing everywhere, was equivalent to the experience he gained being sent flying away. Long Fei was still thinking of letting the golden hair slaughter his way around. If he could level up while lying down, this beautiful dream of his couldn't be shattered. The golden-furred giant ape didn't say anything more. It grabbed Long Fei with one hand and placed him on its back, then heavily leaped as they were already hundreds of meters away. Roar! It let out a roar that reverberated throughout the entire valley. At that moment, all the demon beasts scattered in all directions were stunned. He didn't even dare to move. Half a minute later, there were a few deep wounds on Mu Yun's body, and a few third-stage demon beasts died beside him. His current strength was already enough to deal with a third-stage demon beast. This was a huge improvement. "Boss, are you all right?" Mu Yun did not care about his injuries, but started to care about Long Fei. Long Fei took a step forward, threw him a bottle of Holy Ply S, and said, "Quickly heal your injuries." These pills were all dropped from Undead Ghost Body. Long Fei used the system to check on the pill's properties, the healing deity tier. Mu Yun laughed, then said, "Boss, I'm fine, it's just that why did these demon beasts suddenly flee in all directions?" He had already killed 3 third-stage demon beasts just now, and if it was a month ago, he would not dare to think of such a thing. It must be known that even the powerhouse S of the Holy Moon State could not do it. His strength improved too fast in this half a month. He was shocked himself. His heart was grateful to Long Fei, as all of this was given to him by Long Fei. Even though Long Fei looked at him, his heart quivering, "There's still less than 10 days. I have to find more immortal crystals." Mu Yun said, "Boss, the two of them spat out a mouthful of blood. It seems that their injuries are getting worse. Let me take a look first. Long Fei went forward to take a look. The golden-furred giant ape placed all the spirit grass that it had gathered in front of Long Fei. Long Fei checked, and everything was right. Mu Yin said, "Boss, you should just stay in the Pill Academy for a few days. Even if you have these spirit grass, you don't know how to use their alchemy, or how to save them. How about?" Mu Yin looked at the golden fur that was the size of Small Mountain, and said, "You want him to lead us to the Mu clan and have the elders from the Mu clan heal them?" Right after he finished speaking, Long Fei immediately said, "No. Although the giant golden ape is my war pet, he is also a fairy beast." What did fairy beast mean? This meant that the entire body was filled with treasures, especially immortal crystals. If properly used, it could instantly help a person with stagnant cultivation break through. Moreover, it was the type that had a great cultivation realm. Although Mu Clan was his grandfather's family, he couldn't let anyone harm Golden Fur. Golden Fur was now his brother. Looking at the expression in Long Fei's eyes, Mu Yun immediately replied, "Oh." The golden-furred giant ape looked at Long Fei, its eyes flashing. It understood very clearly the meaning behind Long Fei's words. They were protecting him. Long Fei said, "Goldfur, I have a task for you." The giant golden ape's eyes lit up. "Boss, please speak." Let alone a mission. Even if he was asked to climb the mountain of blades or descend the sea of fire, he wouldn't even furrow his brows. The corner of Long Fei's mouth lifted slightly and said, "Right now, I don't need you here. Kill all the demon beasts that are scattered everywhere for me. Don't leave a single one alive." People needed to be saved, but experience couldn't be lost either. People needed to be saved, but experience couldn't be lost either. There was no conflict. With such a dense number of demon beasts, if he did not hurry now, it would be a huge loss. Although the golden-furred giant ape didn't understand why Long Fei wanted it to kill demon beast, Long Fei's words were in order. He didn't need to know so much. With a heavy leap, he leapt a few hundred meters forward. With each kick, 2 fourth-rank demon beasts were instantly stomped out of the feces. Instant kill. These demon beasts were like lambs. They did not even have the strength to fend them off in front of the fierce tiger. Ding! Ding! 2 notifications sounded in an instant. Then, the golden-furred giant ape charged into the group of beasts and activated its slaughter mode. In his mind, the system beep started to go berserk. Long Fei grinned and excitedly said, "This is the feel. It feels really good." Just as he had started to think, the giant golden-furred ape was just like an upgraded berserk machine. The moment it started, its experience points would go berserk. His experience rapidly increased, just like how he had swarmed monsters in the game in his previous life. The sound of the notices intertwined together like a chorus of the Yellow River. Huff! Long Fei let out a light breath, calming himself down. After checking the injuries of 7 people, other than the first 2 who stabilized their condition, the other 5 were not optimistic. The injury was severe. If he didn't get treatment in time, he wouldn't survive for more than a day. However, what they suffered from were internal injuries, and even the best heal pill would not be able to save them. Only the pellets refined by the spirit grass that the giant golden ape had collected will be able to save their lives. But Long Fei had lost the power of a dragon. The kind of world that was like a furnace. Naturally, he could not release the power of fire, and could not refine pills. What should I do? Long Fei looked at these fresh spirit grass, and his brows tightly knitted together. Mu Yin said, "Boss, why don't we forget about it? Our mission is to return only 2 of them. The other 5's injuries are too heavy, not to mention us. Even the elders of the northern region's Mu clan can't save them." That was the truth. After being attacked by the furious attacks of the giant golden ape, even if he was saved, he would still become trash. However, Long Fei did not want to give up on them, because they were the elites of the Mu clan. Long Fei did not speak, but instead tried to think of a way. Although I am unable to use the power of the dragon, my alchemy is still there. Regardless of whether it succeeds or not, I still want to give it a try. At the very least, I've tried my best. Long Fei said solemnly. Mu Yun, protect me. I can't be disturbed from now on. Mu Yun stared blankly for a moment, then said, Boss, what are you trying to do? Long Fei said, Alchemy, save him. With that, Long Fei sat cross-legged and closed his eyes. Mu Yun was a little confused. He scratched his head and muttered, Boss, when will you learn alchemy? How come I didn't know? Seeing Long Fei's serious look, Mu Yun did not dare to be careless and immediately stood up to protect Long Fei. Long Fei did not immediately make his move. He was in meditation. Without the alchemy technique in his skill bar, he would not be able to refine pills if he followed the game settings. However, the system did not have alchemy technique, but that did not mean he could not use alchemy. The system was dead, and the person was alive. Right now, he was meditating on the circulation process of the ancient alchemy technique. Without the power of a dragon, one could not use the ancient alchemy technique. There was no such rule. The world is the great furnace that refines everything in the world, and the power of nature is also the energy of the elements in the world. I am unable to control the energy of the elements, but the vast majority of the energy comes from the holy source. As long as you control the holy source well, even if you do not have the abnormal alchemy power of the ancient alchemy technique, you can still use alchemy. Huff! Long Fei heaved a sigh of relief and opened his eyes. The look in his eyes was firm. With a move of his 5 fingers, he used his power to retrieve something through the air. The idea then moved it. Heaven and earth are furnace fire. Boom! Holy source combusted into flames. The number of holy source S consumed continued to rise. The spirit grass kept turning, and under Long Fei's holy source fire's wrapping, it quickly turned into ashes and fell. He had failed. Long Fei did not stop and grabbed another spirit grass. The holy source became fire, wanting to be refined using the spirit liquid from the spirit grass torch. However, not even a second more, and the spirit grass was once again burnt to ashes. He failed again. Huff! The temperature at which the holy source burns is too difficult to control. Is this because I don't cultivate the alchemy technique? Long Fei's heart sank. Without the system's approval, it was too difficult to activate it. If he had cultivated the alchemy technique, then even the holy source flames he controlled wouldn't be like this. However, Long Fei was not afraid of failure. If you fall, get up and try again. There would always be a moment of success. If you can't do things without fear of losing, you will lose your entire life. Many people died before they could succeed. One step after another, failure was a step closer to success. Spirit grass are too precious. I can't waste them like this. If I don't want to use a pill furnace to control the spirit liquid of the spirit grass, like the ancient alchemy technique, I must make sure that the spirit grass is not burnt out. I must find that opportunity. Long Fei moved, but he did not try to catch the spirit grass again. Instead, he grabbed at the weeds at the side. Experiment with weeds. Boom! Fail! Boom! Fail! Failing again and again, starting over and over again. It was as if he was training in a technique. Each failure could be summed up one at a time. From the first second, he could not hold on for more than an hour, and in 3 seconds, he did not lose. Sweat covered his forehead. His entire body was drenched, and all of his holy source points were used up. Long Fei swallowed a supreme rank holy source pill, recovered 20,000 points of its value, and started again. Another 2 hours passed. Long Fei's experience was almost up, and he was about to step into the infinite realm. But the amount of time he had left for the grass to hold on was only 5 seconds, which was simply too short for alchemy. But just as Long Fei wanted to continue exploring, Mu Changfeng suddenly spat out a large mouthful of black blood, and his face turned pale white like a thin sheet of paper. Long Fei looked at the blood groove above his head. There were only 100 or so remaining. Furthermore, it was still decreasing. This kind of speed would only last for 3 minutes. There's no time. Forget it. 5 seconds is like a blade of grass. If it's a spirit grass, then it should be able to sustain for a few more seconds. No matter what, I have to give it a try. Long Fei did not want Mu Changfeng to die. In another place, rumble, rumble, a spatial door suddenly appeared out of nowhere, and a few disciples and 2 elders walked out from it. Mu Yuding said, "Search aura." Another elder swept his gaze across them and said lightly, "There's so many demon beasts around, there's an extremely powerful aura of a demon beast in the distance." At this moment, one of the disciples said, "Master, I sense Senior Brother Chongfeng's qi. It's just that, very thin and weak. He might have been seriously injured." That elder pinched the mustache on his chin and smiled confidently. "Since I have come, as long as I'm alive, he will not die." The clan elder's name is Mu Changsheng. The clan elder's name is Mu Changsheng. He was Mu clan's #1 physician and one of the 3 great pill refiners. His medical skills and alchemy were all slightly better than the great elder of the West Region Pill Institution, Mu Xingyun. To put it in his words, there was no one that he could not cure. As long as he wanted to treat them, no one would die. Judge of the Hades. As far as he was concerned, even if it was the person that Yama wanted, he could still save it. This time, he came here with Mu Yuding because of the 7 strong men of North Region. Otherwise, he definitely would not have come out. Mu Yuding said, "Elder Chongsheng, it's a good thing that I brought you here this time. If not, I really would not know what to do." Mu Changsheng smiled confidently and said, "There is no need to be so courteous, old brother Yuting. We are both clear about 7 strong men of North Region's identity. If something happens to them, the old patriarch will not let us off so easily." 7 strong men of North Region was Mu Tianhe's direct disciple. It could be said that he was more important to watch than his own grandson. Murong Xiong grew flowers and grass everywhere he went. Mu Tianhe's grandson could be said to be in the 10s, but none of them were what he liked. Because of his talent, none of them were high-level talents. They were all mediocre. This also caused Mu Tianhe to be extremely troubled. Murong Xiong wanted to stay a few more days for the Mu clan. His younger brother Murong Qi was nowhere to be seen, and his sister had disappeared for many years, so he was the only descendant left in the Mu clan. However, the reason he wanted to measure himself so badly was because all of them had mediocre talent, and none of them had the ability to make it onto the stage. This was also why Murong Xiong's son was not respected in the Mu clan. Long Fei could only become a service disciple if he entered the Mu clan as Murong Xiong's illegitimate child. But 7 strongmen of North Region was different. Mu Tianhe had personally picked these 7 people. It could be said that the talent of these 7 people were not bad for nurturing them in front of their successors. He had already entered the boundless realm at such a young age. Amongst the younger generation, he was an outstanding existence. None of those 100 years old could compare to them. As long as they were given a bit more time, they would be able to step into the realm of Howrin, and even the realm of ancient powers would no longer be a problem. What kind of high-level talent was this? Their status in the Mu clan was naturally very high. Even the current acting patriarch, Mu Hatai, did not dare to let down his guard and personally went to find Mu Changsheng to ask him to follow them into the heart of the god-living mountain. His aura is very weak. The oil lamps have dried up. "There's no need to waste any more time. Hurry up and go," Mu Changsheng said indifferently. But he was also confused in his heart. How did 7 strongmen of North Region's cultivation receive such heavy injuries? Are there any demon beasts that can injure them in this god-living mountain? Even if they do, they can still use formations when the 7 of them are together. It's impossible to harm them, unless... Mu Changsheng's forehead tightened, and 2 words popped out from his mind. Fairy beast. Only the fairy beast could injure them, and it was not a normal fairy beast either. If it's a fairy beast, Mu Changsheng's eyes flashed with a sharp light. Mu Yuding said, "Hurry up, hurry. If something were to happen to them, Master will definitely blame them. All of you hurry up. We failed. The time is too short. It's too difficult to form a pill." Long Fei watched as the spirit grass released the spirit liquid, but it was not enough to stop him. Before he could condense the elixir, it had already collapsed because the time it could last for was too short. Although it was a spirit grass, it could only last for a short 10 seconds. 10 seconds to form a pill? It was simply impossible. Long Fei frowned. Without the power of a dragon, are we really unable to use the ancient alchemy technique? Is there really no other way? Long Fei clenched his teeth and looked at the top of Mu Changfeng's head. There were only a few dozen more points of blood left. The signs of life were already fading. If he couldn't concoct any more pills, he really wouldn't be able to save him. No way. There is no such word in Laozi's dictionary. No matter what, I have to succeed even if. Long Fei looked at Mu Changfeng. His injuries were the heaviest, but he could still hold on for a little longer with the others. One dead, 6 more. If he gave up now, the 6 of them would most likely die. Again, Long Fei once again entered the alchemy. Right now, he was simply making things difficult for the both of them. Right now, the only thing he had was his previous alchemy experience, but he had always relied on the system's alchemy technique, the power of dragons. Now that he had lost both of these items, it could be said that it was extremely difficult for him to concoct any pills. Long Fei now only had a body of empty power, but was unable to unleash it. After continuously consuming 5 top-quality Holy Source pills, his Holy Source value had risen to 100,000 points. Long Fei exhaled lightly. Idea sensed the spirit grass, and its brain continued to think about the way alchemy were operated in the past. The world is the furnace, and naturally, the world is the fire. That feeling, yes, what I need is that feeling. That feeling of alchemy, I need to find that feeling again. Long Fei slowly recalled. Time and time again, carefully slowed down the process of the alchemy, slowed down to twice the speed. For times, 8 times, he was constantly paying attention to every detail. This detail kept repeating itself in his mind throughout the entire process. In the past, with the power of the dragon and the system, his alchemy could be said to be as easy as reaching out his hand. Let alone 10 seconds. If he wanted to be fast, he could instantly form a pill. Slow down. Slow down. Feel. It feels like. Suddenly, Long Fei's eyes suddenly opened, revealing a look of excitement. Found it. Then, with a flick of his right hand, he directly grabbed a spirit grass from the air and floated in front of him. With a flick of the idea, the holy source started to burn. And then, Long Fei's left hand continued to control the other spirit grass. Once the spirit liquid was released, the spirit fire would be stable. Long Fei entered a state of selflessness. At this moment, Elder, it's right in front. Mu Yuding looked into the distance and saw 7 people lying on a boulder. His expression tightened as he said, "It's them." Mu Changsheng was also shocked. Faster. Everyone quickly flew up. However, at this time, Mu Yun suddenly appeared and stopped them, saying, "Elder, senior brother, you can't come close." Mu Yuding looked at Mu Yun and asked, "You are a disciple of the Mu clan? Why can't we get close?" Mu Yun looked at the jade medallions at their waists, and his heart trembled. He knew that their identities were not simple. They were the elders and disciples of the northern region. There was no one that he could afford to offend. However, Long Fei had said before that he couldn't let anyone disturb him. Mu Yun clenched his fists tightly and said, "Elder, my boss True Alchemy, save them." Mu Yuding did not say anything. One of the disciples beside Mu Changsheng glanced at Mu Yun, sneered, and said, "A mere service disciple like you dares to stop this old man? He's even using his alchemy to save people. Do you know who we are? Get out of my way." Boom! With a sweep of his sleeve, a palm swept out, directly sending Mu Yun flying. Bam! Bam! Mu Yun was directly sent flying dozens of meters away, heavily smashing onto a large boulder. The rock cracked from the impact, and he himself spat out a mouthful of blood. However, as if he didn't know the pain, Mu Yun didn't linger at all. He stood up from the ground, supported himself with both hands, and moved at a speed like a cheetah chasing its prey. He stopped Mu Changsheng and the rest before he even had a chance to breathe. Mu Changsheng's face did not look happy. He was already on fire, but he did not flare up. A mere service disciple actually dared to stop him? You want to die? Mu Yun hugged his hands and said respectfully, Elder, my boss does not allow anyone to disturb him, so I hope that you too can stay for a while. That disciple just now said angrily, You little servant, I think you are tired of living. If you were not Mu Clan's disciple, with that palm just now, I would have taken your dog life. You dare to block me? I would like to see how many lives you have. The disciple was about to make his move. Mu Yuding took a step forward and said, Your boss? Who is he? What was the cultivation level of that disciple just now? A God-state servant disciple like the Divine Moon Peak realm would lose his life in an instant. But not only did Mu Yun not die, he even rushed in front of them full of vigor. Not to mention his cultivation, just his physical body's defense was already beyond the Divine Moon realm. This was definitely not a body that a disciple of the God state could possess. Mu Yuding loved talents. He wanted to excuse Mu Yun. Mu Changsheng faintly said at this time, and said, Please, court, what Mu Changfeng is doing is already on the verge of death. If you keep delaying him, I can guarantee that he won't live for more than 2 hours. It gave Mu Yuding a huge pressure. They all knew that the eldest disciple of the 7 strongmen of North Region S had the best talent. If he died, not to mention the old patriarch, even Muhatai would not let him off lightly. Mu Yuding said, Little brother, get out of the way first. Saving people is more important. Mu Yun was also one person, and his words were a command. Then again, he was also clear about his own situation. If he was unable to fuse with the fairy beast core within 10 days, he would lose his humanity. In other words, he would die. His life was given to him by Long Fei, and since that was the case, he should do what Long Fei told him to do even more. Mu Yun spread out his hands and said, Elder, I'm really sorry. Ba said that no one could disturb him. The injured heads of the 7 senior brothers are also thinking of a way. Humph! The disciple beside Mu Changsheng snorted coldly and said, You dog, you really are tired of living. You dare to stop the elder from saving me. Are you planning to kill senior brother? A mere service disciple like you dares to talk about alchemy? Scram immediately. Mu Yun did not move and said, No, you're courting death. The disciple was enraged. He moved his right hand, and a sword appeared in his hand. With a move of the sword, he thrust it at Mu Yun. The speed was too fast. Even if Mu Yun wanted to dodge, he couldn't. But just at this time, Long Fei let out a sigh of relief. Ha, done. I did it. Because the voice was too loud and too excited, and it was also so sudden, the disciple who had struck out the sword was stunned, and the sword also stopped moving. At this time, everyone noticed Long Fei. Mu Yun turned around to look at Long Fei and said, Boss, the elder of Mu Clan is here. Huh? Long Fei glanced at it and said softly, Oh. He didn't pay much attention to it. He didn't have the time to care about it now. There were only 10 drops of blood left on top of Mu Changfeng's head. He quickly went to Mu Changfeng's side and helped him up. He had just finished refining the pill that was still steaming hot and was about to give it to Mu Changfeng to consume. However, Mu Changsheng suddenly shouted, Stop! Long Fei did not pay any attention to him and continued. When the pill touched Mu Changfeng's lips, his figure moved and a strong gale swept over. In the blink of an eye, he had landed beside Long Fei. He grabbed on a Long Fei's arm who was holding the medicinal pellet and said, I told you to stop. Did you not hear me? Mu Changsheng landed. Mu Yuding stared blankly for a moment before swiftly flying up as well. Looking at Long Fei, he asked, Whose disciple are you? Long Fei did not look at them, but said anxiously, Who I am is not important. The most important thing is to save them first. If you do not, he is going to die. Long Fei channeled his full strength, but his arms were tightly bound, unable to move at all. When he saw the scarlet number appear on Mu Changfeng's head, he flew into a rage. He glanced at Mu Changsheng and shouted angrily, Old man, let go of me. Mu Changsheng's pupils shrank rapidly as his eyes burned with rage. Old man? No one in the entire Mu clan dared to call him that. Furthermore, no one dared to speak to him in such a tone. The 5 of them were so angry that they directly flew up to the top of the skull and could not wait to give Long Fei a palm strike. The disciple beside Mu Changsheng bellowed, "To dare speak to an elder like that, you are truly ungrateful. Die." A palm struck towards the back of Long Fei's head. Mu Yin cried out in alarm, "Boss!" Long Fei was also burning with anger. He immediately roared out, "I'm dead. None of them are alive anymore." Immediately, Mu Yuding raised his right hand, and a surge of power immediately blocked that palm. Mu Changxing's eyes turned sinister as he said, "Mu Yuding, what are you trying to do? As a service disciple, you wouldn't really believe his words, right? And with me here, even if Yama comes personally to take my life, I can still save him." Mu Yuding hurriedly said, "Elder Changsheng, he, a service disciple, does not know the rules at all. The most important thing right now is to first check on their injuries. If Chang Feng dies, then we—" Mu Changsheng let out a cold snort, grabbed Mu Changfeng's wrist, and moved his idea. Mu Changfeng's life was very important. The more important his life was, the more valuable it would be if he could save himself. If the 7 strongmen of North Region could save him, wouldn't that mean that the old patriarch would give him some special rewards? His position in the Mu clan was naturally different as well. Thus, Mu Changsheng did not dare delay. However, the idea inspected Mu Changfeng's entire body, and his pupils shrank rapidly as his brows furrowed into a single word. All his internal organs were dislocated and shattered. Mu Yuding's expression changed. If his vital organs were injured to such an extent, could he still be saved? He anxiously asked, "Elder Changsheng, is there any way to treat it? These injuries are not enough to treat." Mu Changsheng's frown deepened, and he said solemnly, "His soul has also shattered, and his oracy has probably ruptured as well. The holy source in the pubes has been emptied. My soul, my oracy has shattered this. The pubes was also heavily injured this. Even if a foreign immortal came, it wouldn't be able to save her. If she was saved when she was injured, she would still become a cripple. But now," Mu Yuding growled and said, "Elder, tell me if you think you can save him now." Even though Mu Changsheng was unwilling, he had to admit, "I can't save him. His breath is already gone, and he's dead." Long Fei said solemnly, "If you can't save me, I can. Old thing, get up." Not all. Not all. If not for his insufficient cultivation level, Long Fei would have directly slapped his face. "What are you trying to do? Occupying the latrine pit and not pooping." It was just that. Long Fei's rude words made Mu Changsheng even more furious. What sort of person was he? The strongest physician in Mu clan. One of the strongest alchemy masters. Judge of the Hades. A servant disciple like him could save a person that he couldn't? Furthermore, Mu Changfeng's injuries were not ordinary. According to him, even if a god descended, he would not be able to save her. His lifespan was running out and his life was coming to an end. This kind of person was hopeless. Immediately, Mu Changsheng growled, "You da, what the heck are you? How dare you?" She glared at Long Fei. That gaze made it seem like he wanted to swallow Long Fei whole. But his voice suddenly stopped. His mouth was agape, and his body was motionless, as if his body was frozen in place. Because Long Fei used the god curse, he did not have the time to waste with Mu Changsheng. If he did not save others, Mu Changfeng would die. His health point had already been seen through. His breathing stopped. If he continued to chat with Mu Changsheng, he would not be able to save him. It had to be said that the god curse was very sharp. The moment Long Fei released that power, a power similar to the freeze symbol directly stuck onto his body, causing Mu Changsheng to be unable to see it. The others couldn't see it either. This power was something that only Long Fei could see. It was just like the body lock curse in the street games in his previous life. The moment he was frozen, the target would be frozen in place without being able to move at all. The god curse was released, and a time slot appeared on it. 3 seconds. Damn, isn't this too short time? If we were talking about the boss, what could we do? Long Fei muttered in his heart. Although he was complaining on the surface, he was inwardly pleasantly surprised, because it was really the same as the description in the God Curse. Any goal could be set. It was only a matter of time. What cultivation did Mu Changxing have? Howren Peak Realm. Although he was a pill cultivator, his cultivation realm was still there, and Long Fei was currently just a holy moon state. How could such a realm shake the Howren realm? It only showed how powerful the God Curse was. Phew! The world has finally quieted down. Long Fei took out the pill and placed it in Mu Changxing's mouth immediately. Because Mu Changxing had suddenly stopped talking, a few of his disciples did not dare to stop him, and Mu Yuding did not stop him from talking as well. Since Mu Changxing said so, he did not hold any hope in his heart, was adamant. Let's take a look first. If it really didn't work out, then he would have to come up with some countermeasures. As the pellet entered Mu Changfeng's mouth, Long Fei moved his palm, and the warm holy source stuck itself onto Mu Changfeng's chest. Please don't. If Mu Changfeng died, Long Fei would probably not be killed by Mu Changsheng, and the Mu clan would also expel him from the God-living mountain. These are not the most important things. As long as the Mu clan had one less elite disciple, the thing that Long Fei did not want to see the most. With regards to the strength of this medicinal pill, he wasn't confident either. This was the pill formula that popped up in his head. He had no confidence in being able to save someone. It didn't matter if no one was there at first. Now that the clan elders of the Mu clan had come, if anything happened, it would be his fault. 3 seconds passed. He felt as if time had stopped for 3 seconds. But he saw Long Fei put the pill into Mu Changfeng's mouth, and in that instant, he could do nothing but stare helplessly. In that moment, all of his energy was channeled normally, but he was unable to move or make a sound. His entire body was bound by the power of the 5 elements. The 3 seconds were up, and Mu Changsheng did not care about why he was frozen. He immediately shouted out in anger, "How dare you!" As soon as his voice faded, Howren's Peak Realm's flame gushed out directly. It formed a powerful shockwave. The blast erupted at close range. It was like the crashing of a massive wave. At such a close distance, Long Fei basically did not have the time to react. In the blink of an eye, Long Fei was immediately sent flying by this wave of air. Boom! With a bang, Long Fei flew out 100 meters and heavily fell down. Bam! Landing on the ground, he spat out a mouthful of blood, causing Long Fei's face to turn pale white. "Boss!" Mu Yun bellowed. He turned and stared at Mu Changsheng, his eyes shooting out flames of anger. "You could dare touch my boss? I'll kill you." Long Fei immediately shouted out, "Mu Yun, don't attack." It was just that, while Long Fei was speaking, Mu Yun had already rushed out. Mu Yun said with a heavy voice as his fists moved, 16 explosion fists. He drew out an 8-burst fist technique. Just as he moved his fists together, one of his hands exploded with 8 punches, while his other hand exploded with 16 punches, exploding with supreme force. Hoo! Bang! However, his fist had not come down, nor did he release all of his techniques, when one of the disciples beside Mu Changxing looked at him with a cold gaze and threw a kick at him. Bam! Mu Yun was kick flying. He was just a god state. Even if he managed to cultivate the 8-burst fist to the 16th level, his cultivation was simply too low. Furthermore, the 8-burst fist was only a normal cultivation technique. In the eyes of the Northern Region disciples, it was like trash. Boom! Mu Yun landed heavily on the ground, spitting out a large mouthful of blood. However, his eyes were spitting fire. He did not care about his injuries as he turned around and got up from the ground. He was now like a ferocious beast. The moment he crawled back up, he wanted to rush forward, but he was stopped by Long Fei this time. "Boss, I'm going to kill him." Mu Yun's eyes were like that of a beast's. The reason he had been devouring beast blood all this time was because his temper had grown a lot more violent. He had to do it even if he couldn't. Long Fei pulled him back and said, "Don't be rash. If you go up again, you'll die." Mu Yun's skin and flesh were currently thick, but he did not have much HP left. So, A few more attacks would definitely not be enough to save his life. Mu Changsheng was infuriated as he stared at Long Fei and said, "Brat, who gave you the guts? I can't even save someone alive, and you think so? Who do you think you are?" Mu Changsheng was very unhappy. Long Fei said, "Since you want to save him, why can't I give a try? You already said that he's going to die, and since he's going to die, I can't even give it a try? What are you afraid of?" Long Fei was equally unhappy. He didn't dare guarantee that Mu Changfeng would survive, so he wasn't too confident either. Mu Changsheng sneered and said, "Brat, who are you?" "You?" Suddenly, when Mu Changsheng saw the jade tablet at Long Fei's waist, his eyes went cold. Opening his fingers, a huge force immediately sucked the jade tablet at Long Fei's waist, and after withdrawing it, it fell onto his hand. Mu Yuding was also shocked. The identity token of Elder Xingyun? "Brat, why is Elder Xingyun's jade tablet with you?" An identity jade plate was a symbol of status. Each of them only had one, and according to the rules of the Mu clan, they had to be carried on their person to be easy to identify. An identity jade plate was a symbol of status. Each of them only had one, and according to the rules of the Mu clan, they had to be carried on their person to be easy to identify. The levels were strict. When Long Fei came out, in order to save trouble, he had hung the identity jade tablet on his waist and did not take it off. He didn't expect something to happen now. Whether it was being borrowed or not, people would be severely punished according to the rules of the Mu clan. Not only Long Fei, Mu Xingyun would also be punished. Long Fei frowned. Mu Yun said, "Since you know about Elder Mu Xingyun, then you should also be clear about his identity. My boss is the disciple of Elder Xingyun." He was worried that Mu Changsheng and the others would say that Long Fei had stolen their identity plates, so he helped Long Fei explain. He thought that Mu Xingyun would be able to suppress these people. After all, Mu Xingyun was the great elder of the West Region Academy and also a high-level alchemy master of the Mu clan. His identity was illustrious and his status was noble. However, Mu Xingyun did not suppress them. It was clear that these people were of a higher status than Mu Xingyun. Mu Xingyun's disciple? Humph! Mu Changsheng sneered. That lunatic? Sure enough, what kind of person taught what kind of disciple? Mu Changsheng mocked coldly, stared at Long Fei, and said, "Brat, using an elder's identity jade tablet in private, according to the clan rules, 3 years and 1 month's imprisonment in Cold Abyss are cancelled. If the circumstances are serious, the person is directly expelled from the Mu clan." One of the disciples immediately said, "To offend an elder, your words are humiliating. The plot is extremely bad." Mu Yuding said, "Elder Changsheng, they are only children." "Child? Hee. Do they look like children? Don't you know what kind of person Mu Xingyun is? Give your own jade tablet to your disciple. I must report this to the patriarch." Mu Changsheng really hated Mu Xingyun. If he did not stomp Mu Xingyun down this opportunity, would he just let it go? Mu Yun was startled and said softly, "Boss, what do we do? What should we do now that we have involved Elder Xingyun?" Now he was worried. Long Fei also frowned. Mu Xingyun had treated him quite well, even risking the punishment to give him an identity jade token. If it wasn't for his help, he wouldn't be at his current level, and it was also impossible for him to have a fairy beast as a war pet. Remember it. Long Fei was very grateful in his heart. But at this time, it was clear that he had already dragged Mu Xingyun into the water. If the patriarch blames him, Mu Xingyun would definitely be suppressed. But right now, Long Fei had no choice. He couldn't just summon his fairy beast back and kill them, right? Just as Long Fei was at his wit's end, he realized that the blood on the head of Mu Changfeng, who was lying on the ground, was constantly recovering. He was recovering. His HP was recovering. That meant that pill had worked. Long Fei's heart was in ecstasy, and he thought to himself, "Damn it, you're still going to slap your face? Aren't you going to gobble him up?" Immediately, Long Fei gently coughed and said, "Elders, why have you come?" The disciple shouted, "Why are we here to tell you?" Long Fei did not care what he said, and continued. You want to compete to save people, right? I'm here to save people too. Master sent us here. Mu Changsheng sneered. Did Mu Xingyin send you here? Ha ha, kid, does a master know about healing techniques? Long Fei said, Elder, you're not the only one who uses the healing technique in this world. In the past, Master only did not expose himself. Mu Changsheng said disdainfully. Can Mu Xingyun even save people? He can save someone I can't cure? What the hell is he? Long Fei said, Is that so? Mu Changsheng said, What is it? Long Fei said, Is Master unable to save the people you can't? Of course. In the entire Mu clan, who can match me in healing techniques? He, Mu Xingyun, is simply no match for me in alchemy. So what kind of thing is he in front of me? Mu Changsheng said fiercely. Long Fei laughed when he said these words. He grinned. He was laughing very happily. Similarly, Mu Yin also laughed. Mu Changsheng said angrily. What are you laughing about? If the pills that he refined can cure them, I will kneel here today and kowtow to him, not waiting for him to finish. A disciple said, Master, look. Mu Changsheng said, What are you looking at? Even if Mu Xingyin comes, I will say the same thing. If he can cure all these people, from today onwards, I will call him Master. That disciple anxiously said, Master, quickly look back. Mu Changsheng shouted angrily. What are you looking at? Huh? He turned around and looked behind him. His voice stopped abruptly. Mu Changfeng sat up, his eyes opening, his face not as pale as before. At this moment, Mu Changfeng looked at Mu Changsheng with unmoving eyes and said in shock, Elder Changsheng, why are you here? Did you save me? All right. And he could talk. He was full of energy. The aura of the holy source on his body also faintly moved. Was this the person he had just announced as dead? Was this a person whose soul, qi, and internal organs were all shattered? Mu Changsheng was a little confused. At this moment, it could be said that, pa. One slap after another echoed across his face. In an instant, he felt as though his face had been slapped until it swelled up. Especially Mu Changfeng's words. Was it you who saved me? This made him even more ashamed. No, impossible. This is impossible. Mu Changsheng grabbed Mu Changfeng's pulse, and the idea sent something. Mu Changfeng was startled and said, Clan Elder, what happened to you? My soul, spirit ocean, and organs are all better now, and the holy source in the pubes is also very plentiful. It seems like my cultivation has advanced a step. Your pills are truly amazing. His words were like a slap on the face. Another slap landed on Mu Changsheng's face. It was just as Mu Changfeng had said. His injuries had all recovered and were quickly recovering. That's impossible. There is no such pill in the world. Impossible. It's impossible for him, Mu Xingyun, to have such an ability. Mu Changsheng was about to go crazy. He just could not believe the truth in front of his eyes. Mu Yuding, who was at the side, was also shocked. Even if he saved his life, it would still be impossible for him to recover completely. However, the aura on Mu Changfeng's body was not damaged at all. What kind of pill could achieve such an effect? Long Fei laughed. Elder, just because you can't do it doesn't mean others can't. My master only didn't want to argue with you before because in his eyes, you aren't even worth something. Cluck, cluck. Mu Changsheng's teeth chattered loudly, but he could not refute her. He would never be able to concoct such a pill. He lost all his face. His expression was extremely ugly. Mu Changsheng swept his sleeves and was about to leave. However, Long Fei said, Elder, didn't you say earlier that you were going to kneel down and kowtow? It can't be that he has a bad memory, even at his age, right? What a rotten old man. Mu Changsheng was so angry that it seemed as if his hair was going to burn. He shouted loudly, How dare you? Long Fei didn't give Mu Changsheng any face. Long Fei didn't give Mu Changsheng any face. Why would he give face to someone who didn't want to give him face? Mu Changsheng was very angry. Being humiliated by the disciple of his sworn enemy, Mu Xingyun, how could he bear with such resentment? He turned around, stared at Long Fei, and coldly snorted, and said, "Humiliating an elder is a crime worthy of death." He had just finished. A disciple beside him immediately rushed out, the spirit chi around his body surging. He directly pounced towards Long Fei. The pressure was like a mountain as it attacked heavily. Long Fei's gaze tensed up, and there was no fear in it, because the giant golden-furred ape was not far away. It was looking at them now, and the moment Long Fei gave the idea's command, it would immediately rush out. It was more than enough to protect himself. It was just that, without waiting for Long Fei to summon the giant golden-furred ape, Mu Yuding took a step forward. With a move of his aura, he immediately suppressed the aura of that disciple, and said with a faint smile, "Elder Changsheng, why are you so angry?" He had easily blocked all of the disciple's pressure. The disciple's face sunk as he looked at Mu Changsheng. Mu Changsheng's eyes turned cold, and said, "What? You, Mu Yuding, also want to oppose me?" Mu Yuding hugged both of his hands, and said, "I don't dare." Mu Changsheng shot a cold glance at him, and said, "If you don't dare, then stand to the side. A mere service disciple would piss on my head." He was very unhappy. Long Fei was not afraid in the slightest as he said, "Elder, you have to admit that you lost. Was what you said just now dog farts? What Mu Clan's #1 healer? The strongest alchemy master? I think these are all bullshit." Long Fei really did not give him any face. He was going to say the things he was unhappy about. It doesn't matter who you are. If it wasn't for the fact that Mu Changsheng's surname was Mu and was a member of his maternal grandfather's family, humiliating him with a few words was still considered light. If it was anyone else, they would have already summoned the giant golden fur ape and beat his sh*t out of him. Why would you talk to him? Mu Changsheng was so angry that his teeth were itching. His eyes stared straight at Long Fei as though he was eating a person, and said solemnly, "Brat, what? I'm asking you. Who saved him? Is that you? I'm asking you. Who said that he is dead and can no longer be saved? Who is it? Who do you think I am? Who do you think you are?" Long Fei vented. This kind of arrogant and proud elder should let him face reality. Mu Changsheng clenched his fists tightly. He was unable to refute what Long Fei had said. Indeed, he had just determined that Mu Changfeng did not have a way to save her. However, how could he have known that a person whose soul and chi-si had been shattered would be alive? Did Mu Xingyun have this ability? He absolutely did not believe it. However, the truth was right in front of him. There was no way he could not believe it. Mu Changsheng's sleeves swept across the place fiercely, his eyes stared straight at Long Fei, and laughed coldly. Mu Xingyun really did take in a good disciple. "Very good. Brat, remember today? We will meet in Mu Clan. Let's go." Mu Changsheng was flustered and exasperated, 100,000 flames of anger burning in his heart, but he had nowhere to vent it on. Mu Yuding obviously knew how to protect Long Fei. His alchemy was powerful, and his cultivation was not low. But what he researched was the Pill Dao. If it was a competition of force, he was not Mu Yuding's opponent. Killing Long Fei was naturally impossible. Staying behind would only allow Long Fei to humiliate him. He might as well leave. He had remembered this grudge, and when he returned, he was going to suppress Mu Xingyun. The two disciples anxiously followed behind Mu Changsheng. Long Fei shouted, "Clan Elder, are you not going to kneel down and kowtow anymore? You're not going back on your words. Elder, you are truly shameless. Elder, don't go. Let's see how the others are doing." "Elder." Mu Changsheng did not stay. When Long Fei wanted to say something, the anger in his heart grew, and he truly wanted to tear Long Fei's mouth apart, and cried out blood in his heart. "Brat, just you wait. Go back and investigate everything about this brat. Mu Xingyun's disciple. He is my Mu Changsheng's enemy." Long Fei kept shouting and venting. Mu Yuding said lightly, "Stop shouting. He has already walked far away." At this moment, Mu Changfeng, who had been wearing a stupefied expression the entire time, finally reacted. Looking at Long Fei, he said, "Elder Yu, was he the one who saved me? Isn't that Elder Changsheng?" Mu Yuding said, "He saved you. You should thank him properly." Mu Changfeng stood up and looked at Long Fei seriously. In the next second, he suddenly knelt on the ground and said, "Thank you." The two words were very heavy. However, compared to his life, these two words were too light. Suddenly kneeling down, Long Fei was stunned. Mu Yuding, who was at the side, was even more dumbfounded. He hurriedly stepped forward to help Mu Changfeng up and said, "Changfeng, this is—" Mu Changfeng did not get up and said, "I know how heavy my injuries are. My life is yours. If you need it, I can give it to you any time." But Mu Changfeng looked at the 6th junior brother junior sister S beside him and said, "Please save them, I beg of you." While they were talking, Mu Changfeng kowtowed heavily. Mu Yuding trembled inwardly. He was very clear about Mu Changfeng's identity, but could be said that the 7 of them had extremely special status within the Mu clan. According to the old patriarch Mu Tianhe, the 7 of them were Mu Tianhe's successors. The 7 of them did not need to greet any clan elders in Mu clan, but to kneel in front of Long Fei. How could this not shock him? Long Fei also hurriedly stepped forward and said, "Senior brother, you do not need to be so courteous. If I can save you, I will definitely save them as well." "What's more," Mu Changfeng said, "what else?" Long Fei wanted to say that his war pet was the one to injure him, but he held back the words that were on the tip of his tongue. He couldn't expose the giant golden ape, at least for now. After all, she was a fairy beast. Long Fei laughed dryly and said, "Nothing much, don't worry, I will definitely think of a way to save them. No, it's my master who will think of a way. I am just a service disciple." He didn't want to be in the doctor's presence. He had no interest in developing that either. Saving Mu Changfeng was entirely because of his grandfather. Mu Changfeng said, "Thank you, thank you. Besides, master, as long as you say it, the 7 of us will not hesitate to go through fire and water." Mu Changfeng said resolutely. Mu Yun said, "Senior brother, since my lord has saved all of you, is the mission that you issued okay? This mission is very important to boss. We need this class mission to gain the qualification to participate in the South Area selection." It's effective. Of course it's effective. South Area selection? Are you disciples of the Eastern District? Mu Changfeng was slightly taken aback. Mu Yuding was also secretly astonished in his heart. He thought that they were the service disciples from the Western region. Recalling that Long Fei is Mu Xingyun's disciple and his extraordinary medical skills, Mu Yuding said, "I think you two should just directly enter the Northern region and become its official disciples, right? You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories."